It is state tournament time for VHSL basketball, as the Maury Commodores travel to Virginia Beach to take on the Green Run Stallions. Cass Jackson, the guard for Green Run, finds his teammate Julius Hyman in the corner. He drills the three. So Green Run gets the ball back and going up with it. Tyler Bell says no way. But back up the other way to end the third quarter. Monte Rudolph hits the corner three to give Green Run some momentum going into the fourth. But starting off the fourth for Maury, Evans Taylor gets found for a deep pass and drills it. Tyler Bell with a rebound. Put back. It's good and one, they say. So he gets a free throw to go with it as the Maury fans are going buck wild. But going back up the other way, Knowledge Harrell, the recent Virginia Tech football commit, drills another and one. Now for Maury, Adrian Newton gets the ball and gets it back, puts it up, and one to tie the game, and the free throw could give them the lead. The free throw for the lead for Maury by Adrian Newton. Up. No good. So Green Run gets a chance. Julius Hyman's three goes up. No good. Rebound. Sorrel Straker puts it up. He's fouled. He gets to put up two foul shots to take the lead. The first one goes up. It is good. Green Run leads 37-36 with that, as the fans are going wild. As you can see, the second free throw. Good. So Maury, their last prayer to keep their season alive, they get the ball in. The shot goes up. No good. Celebration time for Green Run as they advance to play against Woodside in the state semifinals on the road to get to VCU for the state championships. Final score, Green Run 38, Maury 36. I'm Jack Lowe, Cova Sports.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Welcome to another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. The March to March is here. You got to watch the finish there of that thrilling quarterfinal game on Tuesday night in Virginia Beach. So from the highs of highs to the low of lows, you'll see a buzzer beater that happened on Friday night in state high school basketball action, but it did not involve Green Run, who you saw beat Maury in that highlight package. They fell victim in the semifinal round to reigning Class 5 champ Woodside, who Ed got to see up close and personal over there at Norfolk State University Eccles Hall. I have not watched any basketball live this week because I've been on Old Dominion women's basketball broadcasting duties, but we do bring in the head coach at Nance Minerva, who has seen plenty of hoops action. We've got some brackets. We got some special guests. You'll hear from not one, but two victorious coaches from the Hampton Crabbers this morning. Eric Brown, as the boys are moving on to VCU next week, and Shonda Bailey will join us live, the head girls coach of the Crabbers. Good morning, Edward. It's a fun time of year, and there's a lot of thrill and heartbreak for teams like Maury that fell in that Tuesday night game to Green Run out of your region, like you'll see coming up on a wild finish with LC Bird and Albemarle. Greg Maynard was this close to a state championship game. We called one of his double overtime losses to LC Bird, and last night might have taken the cake for you think you have the game won, and then Christian Leitner deja vu happens. You'll see that coming up.
Yeah, good morning to you. It is absolutely fantastic time of the year. State playoff basketball. We're coming out of regionals into the state playoffs. College basketball moving on into March Madness, as we are in March now, and it's a great time. Me personally, I like getting out and seeing the games, but it's been rough watching because we were so close to be there, losing to Norview a couple Saturdays ago and a close one in the opener of the regional. But could have been, should have been, and all that. We're not in it, and now I get to watch these other teams play and calculate what I would do against them and how I would change, and I watch games a little different and just for enjoyment. The good thing is the stress level is extremely low. I don't have that stress level of happening to draw up something or hoping the kids play hard or nobody's hurt or sick or whatever. But I'd rather be on that other sideline. But right now it's great, and look forward to the state championships, which are next.
We are streaming each and every week with you on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also available on VirginiaPreps.com. It's right there on the front tab there. We have the full brackets. We'll actually show it to you in a second here for those that are waiting to see what transpired last night. We're also on Twitter or X at 757 Sports Talk. You'll see all kinds of things on Instagram and TikTok with the show if you watch or view or do those things via the social media outlets. But a lot happening in the world of sports. College basketball, we're getting closer to the March Madness. I know next week we have the Sun Belt Tournament. There was a new basketball coach announced. We'll touch on that in a little bit at Old Dominion as Jeff Jones announced his retirement. We hope to get Coach Jones on our show pretty soon. I know you connected with him this past week. And the new Coach Jones, Mike Jones, being ushered in on Friday and also was introduced to the crowd at last night's women's basketball game with Old Dominion and James Madison in the Royal Rivalry Challenge presented by Town Bank, where the ladies of Old Dominion fell to James Madison, who got the number 3 seed. Monarchs with the number 4 seed in that. But Mike Jones introduced the crowd. They had a press conference to the folks at Chartway Arena's Big Blue Room on Friday. And we'll be up in Richmond next week, Ed, for the state championships that you can watch exclusively on the NFHS network. 12 titles will be handed out, 6 on the boys' side, 6 on the girls' side. And would you like to see the brackets first? Would you like to see the matchups for the title games, to give your quick initial blush thoughts, if you will, of those? Where do you want to head as you also scroll across the ticker, some college basketball matchups today on this first Saturday in March? It's raining an awful lot here outside of my mansion, as you see in the background with the piano and the fireplace in Virginia Beach. And by the way, not only do you have 5 top 25 matchups, we'll do our buy or sell coming up. You have today private school VISAA championships, and I'm going to dart up to the 804 and watch one of them. I want to see, arguably, and maybe this will stir the debate between you and I and the audience out there today, the best basketball team in the state, public or private. I know you're thinking it's the Men of John Marshall, where justice is often served and handed out by Ty White's outstanding program that we'll get to watch in the state finals coming up next week. But I would lean right now to Paul VI, who's got a nationally decorated program under Coach Glenn Farello, and I think they are the best team in the state. They're taking on St. Anne's Belfield in the VISAA Division I championship at Benedictine today at 6 p.m. But maybe the audience can win on that. Who would win that dream matchup? I don't know if they'll ever play each other. It would be great if they did. Where do you want to head, and what's on your mind right now that you can share with the audience?
Well, that what I can share has to do with state playoff basketball is the key. I think a lot of people's mindsets are that way. Everybody's excited about the matchup. A little confusion about where games are. There was confusion this past week as I was asked a lot of questions about why are some games on home floors and where's the neutral floor and why we should be on neutral floor and all. It's just a lot of different confusion that I wish, I don't know, going into next year, it could be a lot more streamlined, a lot more get the confusion out. But I guess the big thing right now, let's get to the brackets. Let's see where everybody's at. We know it's at VCU. There was some speculation. Max Preps was talking about the first round of some games on some home floors and what. Now everything's at VCU.
Well, the quarterfinal games did take place at some home floors. You're talking about for the championships?
I'm talking about the championships.
Yeah, nothing ever. The only time we've had championships outside of VCU in the last, I'd say 20 years that I've been doing this, covering it, was the COVID year, where we actually went up to Ashburn and did a game with Green Run and Stonebridge. And there were championships in home gymnasiums with masks on and limited number of people that were supposed to be in the gymnasiums. We can't confirm or deny if those numbers were met or exceeded. But nonetheless, it's always been a VCU, and I think it's an awesome venue for it. I think the VHSL deserves some credit as much as people want to get mad about it. It's a centrally located spot in our state. I know people in Southwest, Northern Virginia, this part of state, that part of state, don't always like it, but I mean, you tell me what's a better spot for it right now. I think it's made a lot of sense, and I'm okay with it. So,
well, yeah, you and I argued a little bit this week about. My belief is state games for opening round on should be neutral floor. College.
They used to be. They used to be.
Right. That's my opinion, and
But let me ask this though: if that's your opinion and you're entitled to that opinion, that's fine. Then what's the purpose of winning the region championship? It does you no good if you don't get a game in your city or in your gymnasium. If it's not a home gym in a location nearest to you, I don't know why we've moved past, to me, the quarterfinal and we're in the championship round. So I don't know why That's a big deal. What was confusing was there were actually some administrators out there and folks that I know this, I've spoken to some, that didn't know that the VHSL changed it in the last year that you could play quarterfinals in your gym. Now you could not play, from what I was told, the semifinal games in your gym, which is why you had games such as, for example, Hampton's doubleheader yesterday with Hampton girls against Monacan and Hampton boys against Verina. They were played at Heritage High School in Newport News. But I don't believe there was any games in the semifinal round held at a team's gymnasium, which I understand because then you get to the semifinal rounds, you could have two region champions, ones versus ones, or you could also have two seeds play each other, like in the girls in Class 3, Meridian and Lake Taylor. But to me, you basically eliminate the purpose of winning that region championship game. It does you no good if you don't get a chance to host or have it in your city. So to me, you'd have to have some value to that. You remember the old Eastern region, Central region, Northwest region, Northern region, AAA, AA, single A days. You were in the state, so the game was viewed as it's not a win or go home game, but there was some value to it as far as you get to stay home or you have to travel.
Well, again, when you look at the setup, let's use particulars. Let's say Woodside's a number one,
right?
Representing region 5A or 5B, whatever, 5B, and they're going to play team from Richmond, Bird, in the opening round of the state tournament. They're both ones. They both won the region. Okay, who gets that? And it seems to be like, well, this year it's going to be this region hosting. Okay.
Well, it's based on top of the bracket, which if that's your argument, Ed, I'm with you 100%. That's a totally different argument than the quarterfinal game. If you're saying between, let's say girls and boys, because it was the likes of Princess Anne against Norview and Princess Anne against Menchville. And the likes of Green Run versus Maury. They're two teams in the same area, but one's a 1 seed, one's a 2 seed. That's a totally different argument than that because they're different seeds. Than if you get 2 1s in the semifinal round, I'm with you. That happened the last 2 years with Verona Kings Fork. But that's a totally different discussion than the thing that we were just hitting on. Totally different.
But my point is this. You say, okay, how do we reward the regional champion? Well, regional champion, you got the title and you're going into states. Now, maybe that first round is at a college gym, and I'm hooked on the big gym because of VCU championships. Then you play, let's say it's Woodside. Okay, Woodside, you can play closest college gym to them would be what? Christopher Newport?
Well, it depends on those schools' availability. I mean, listen, there were a lot of people are upset from the Woodside perspective. And listen, they're going back to the state championship game. I think we might be spending a little too much time on this. They're having to play a 4:00 game in the afternoon on Friday, coming across that tunnel with traffic at Norfolk State University. Let's just get the elephant out of the room. They're upset about that. I get that. People are mad about that, but that's everywhere in Hampton Roads, state of Virginia. James Madison's bus got stuck in traffic coming from Harrisonburg to Norfolk for a women's game yesterday. That happens. I don't love it. I think if they had planned it better, they would have played that game at 6 or 8 o'clock on Friday night because, let's be honest, you had 2 local girls teams that were on that side of the tunnel that could have played the 4:00 game with Princess Anne Deep Creek. But did it affect the outcomes? You saw the 3 games. They were all, I don't want to say total blowouts or lopsided, but none of them were down to the wire hanging in the balance. I don't know that affected who won. I think we all thought coming in the 3 winners were the 3 winners in the likes of Woodside boys, Lake Taylor boys who really cruised against James Monroe, and Princess Anne girls who got some separation around middle of the game, second half, in their win over Deep Creek. A lot more convincing than their previous encounter, which took place 8 days ago at Ocean Lakes in the Region 5A final. So at the end of the day, it needs to be, a lot of this needs to be tweaked. I think what's even worse from your region is, and I get it because they're the host school, that you have Norview hosting it, and they've been the lower seed 3 straight years, twice against Woodside and once against you. And I've been saying that for 2 years now. And even worse, on the girls' side, you had an 8 seed in Maury host a 1 seed in Menchville. Tell me that makes a lot of sense in the quarterfinal round. It does not make any sense. And your region is the only region in the state out of 30 or 24 regions, only one that does that. But that's a regional thing. That's not the VHSL, their state there. So I again, those things can be addressed in the off season. I don't think we're at a point where it should take away from the limelight or what we're looking at with the brackets. And real quick, as we see the Class 6 bracket up here, biggest surprise, and I'll take the hit for it. I think you copied me, and you'll take the hit too. I thought Lansdowne would win this whole thing. I thought it was a 3-team race as far as the favorites go. I thought it was the 2 that are remaining in South Lakes, Patriot, and Lansdowne. Going back to our preseason Virginia Preps top 10 rankings, we had South Lakes 1, Patriot 2, Lansdowne 3. I bumped Lansdowne ahead of them in my brain, though I think our final rankings had Patriot 1. Patriot had beaten South Lakes regular season this year. The reason being Lansdowne closed on a 14-game winning streak, extended it to 17 after beating Oscar Smith rather handily in the regional final. But they had illness in that game without Xavier Cleveland, won the semis and final without him, arguably their second best player. Their best player, Deshaun Spellman, was averaging about 17 points, 16 rebounds per game, did not play in the state quarterfinal game. Heard he was hospitalized, in fact. Didn't have him against two-time defending state champ Hatfield. And while Hatfield had 5 brand new starters, they got up 17. Lansdowne battled back, got it to overtime. Didn't have enough in the tank without Spellman to get it done. And hats off to Hayfield. Tough finish for a great year for Dwight Robinson's Eagles, who should be back again, 21-5. And Oscar Smith had a lead in the third quarter against Patriot. But Isaiah Vick, son of our good pal Dwight Vick, former Hampton Crabber, Virginia Tech standout on the football side of things, he stepped up. They've got Tay Barber, who's going to Harvard. Sweet shooter for them. Desmond Hopkins at the point, and Patriot pulled away from Oscar Smith 55-44 in the semifinal round to set up a showdown. Patriot, South Lakes, Jordan Scott, one of the most ballyhooed juniors in the country. He's got offers from a boatload of schools, including Michigan State. We remember his dad, Jerome Scott, his mom, Christy Winter Scott, who you probably see on TV, part of Wizards coverage on Monumental Sports. He's going to try to get his first state championship as a junior. And I'll let this cat out of the bag. I don't know if I should or not, but his coach, Mike Desmond, I got to find out the bottom of this. His nickname is Fuzzy, by the way. Did you have a nickname when you played? Fuzzy? That wasn't your nickname, was it?
No.
Fuzzy. You got to find out why they call him Fuzzy.
Back in my day, nicknames weren't as big as they are now.
Yeah, Fuzzy.
It just wasn't there. But, I agree with you. I thought Lansdowne, when it all started before we saw the brackets, I thought hopefully Lansdowne, South Lakes, which are the two teams I picked in a final, would be opposite, but they happen to be in the same bracket. And I leaned towards Lansdowne. Of course, I'm a 757 guy at heart. But, when you do this media stuff, you try to be looking it down the middle. But
yeah, by the way, when you say that, as I was going through a championship game from last year, one of the comments, you ruffled some feathers, by the way, with that. I don't know if you know that or not. I guess some Patrick Henry Roanoke fans, I went back in the archives when you said that on our broadcasts against Woodside. They got a little upset that they called you the 757 homer. And I get accused of that more times than not. So just giving you a heads up. When you do that, you're going to make some friends and some enemies, maybe more enemies than friends.
When you do the media stuff, that's part of what it is. As long as they're listening and respect what we're saying, that's fine with me. I'm not worried whether I ruffle feathers or not. The only feathers I worry about is the ones on the turkey at Thanksgiving and Christmas if they're gone.
Well, you take care of those pretty good. So
I take care of that. But I don't mind that. I mean, I try to call it down the middle. And yes, I'm going to favor 757 because for the most part,
be unbiased.
For the most part, though, they can do it. Now, I waffled between Smith and Patriot a lot, but, I haven't seen Patriot a whole lot. And I thought, well, Smith can do it. And they had the lead. And then Patriot stepped up and took it from him. So now we go to finals. And I'll ruffle the Patriot feathers.
Don't do that. You're going to go South Lakes. What's your reasoning besides Scott? You think they play better defense? What's your reasoning?
I think they get up and down a little bit better. I think they got scoring from more. I think Patriots probably a stronger physical team. I think a low scoring game would favor Patriot. It's a close one. You got two very comparable, but if I got to pick, which I'm going to go South Lakes probably by a 4-point game.
So they played earlier this season. I watched the game on the NFHS network. I stat charted the game that was on the NFHS network. It was at Patriot on December 19th before Christmas, and Patriot won at 83-72 behind 23 from Barber, who I mentioned, 17 points from Vic, 17 from Hopkins. Jordan Scott had 28 in defeat to go with 9 rebounds and 3 blocks on 10 of 18 shooting from the field. But the thing that jumped out in that game, Ed, was South Lakes was 3-19 from 3. Patriot was 12 of 18 from 3. So 3-point line could be a big deal in this game. If you remember, Patriot was ice cold in last year's final against Hayfield at VCU. Maybe having been there before in this spot setting could help them. I give them a slight edge at the moment, Patriot, but I won't be surprised because I think South Lakes is a different team than they were when they met the first go round, and I think their defense could step it up. Should be a fun one, though. Looking forward to that game very much so. As we look at the other part of the bracket as far as the state tournament goes, we scroll it down here, going to Class 5 now. And can you see that there? You have Potomac Falls falling. I think I called that one to Albemarle. They had a double-digit lead. Albemarle was able to – we just went all over the place as the screen just went elsewhere. So give me a moment here. Apologies, folks. You hit a button, and that's what happens. Now we're back to where we were. Potomac Falls had a double-digit lead. They fall to Albemarle in that one, and then Albemarle loses the heartbreaker to LC Bird on Friday night. You have Green Run getting by Maury close. Woodside beats Kempsville. 3 of 4 games were instant classics had in the quarterfinal round, which is what you expect from Class 5, which has traditionally been, if not the best division of the 6, certainly one of the strongest classes as far as the depth and quality, along with quantity. And then in the semifinal round, Woodside, you look at Woodside's records so far in this postseason, Ed. Here are their wins as far as the margins go. And you watched them yesterday up close and personal in their triumph over Green Run. They beat Kecoughtan by 26. They beat Norview by 24. They beat Maury by 16. And even though Green Run got the deficit down to 6 in the second half yesterday, the Wolverines beat Kempsville by 21, Green Run by 21. Is anybody going to threaten this team to within single digits? And if anybody's going to do it, it's the last team left here in LC Bird. I just don't know if they can. Now, you do wonder, Woodside has not been in a close game really since Hampton in overtime, who's playing for a state championship? Because even the Peninsula Catholic game, as close as that was for about 3 quarters, Peninsula Catholic did open it up in the fourth quarter. It was not really, obtainable in the last 2-3 minutes of the game. So Bird has to keep it close. The question is, can they?
I think they will. I think they'll come up with some stuff to try to slow down the Wolverines, the Woodside squad. But, I've watched them. I saw this Peninsula Catholic loss. I didn't think they obviously didn't play their best, and the energy was extremely low as the game went on. They got blindsided, quite frankly. Now, in their credit, Coach Welch and the kids' credit, they have come back extremely strong, the proverbial chip on the shoulder, about a lot of different things where they were slated to play games. I thought they got stiffed a little bit in the all-regional voting. For all-region, there's only one player, Silas Barksdale, made first team. He was player of the year in the district. I had voted for one of their other young fellas to be first team and 2 on second. Ended up getting 3 on second. So they had a lot of things to rally around, and they've done it. And they have played hard, especially Silas Barksdale. But I'm telling you, the guard, Green. He put a dunk on yesterday. Oh,
Green. You're talking about Messiah Wells Stevens.
Stevens.
Yeah.
The dunk he put on, and the kid's about 5'10". He dunked on one of the kids yesterday on a fast break.
Saw it. Yeah.
I didn't even move. I didn't get half the audience got up and jumped all over the place, ran down the aisle. Somebody did laps around the top of the building. 2 people ran outside and came in another door. It was ESPN #1 of the week.
I can actually pull up the dunk for you, and we'll actually have it here in a moment while you talk.
That'll be great because
courtesy. Well, we have to give courtesy first to our good friend Deshaun Webster at Seven Cities Hoop Tape. Follow him. He's got the video. He's got this clip. We'll have it for you in a second. He's got it. It is pretty impressive. I actually got told about it as I was at ODU. So
my point is,
someone else. Yep.
All the superlatives aside, they are focused. If they continue that, now here's the big thing. They've been there before. And I always said being there before means something when you get to this level. And if that chip remains and they keep playing hard, you forget all the chip on the shoulders and all the outside noise. You got to execute when it comes to play. And you're playing a Bird team that's not they're there for a reason. They're pretty doggone good. And they're going to scout, and they're going to be ready, and they're going to make adjustments. But I feel Woodside, again, is going to take this. And it could – I'm actually saying a 10. If they keep playing the way they are, I think it could be a 10-point win for them.
That's not that close. That's what I'm saying. I don't think it's come down to 2 possessions, which that's in Bird's wheelhouse. They just won a 40-39 and a 47-44.
Yes.
Bird knows how to operate in these close games. And this is not Troy Manz's vintage team of Kenny Williams, who went on to North Carolina, or Pinky Wiley, Mario Haskett, some of those names we've watched before on the big stage, bright lights. But he's got a well-connected group. They're defending. They're playing hard and playing unselfish. They don't have the star power, the marquee name of Silas Barksdale, who's a top 200, 300 player in the country, who's getting double-doubles left and right and 20 rebound games. But I would say this, that if they are able to make it close, that they can function well. I just don't think it's going to be that close. That I hate to say that for Bird's case. I think Woodside right now is head and shoulders above the rest of the field. And I would have thought And Albemarle, I haven't seen them live. I thought they would be the one tricky matchup for Woodside because they reminded me a little bit of last year's Patrick Henry Roanoke team that had a lead on them into the fourth quarter, had an almost 20-point lead in the third quarter, that had shooting, deceptively athletic, moved the ball. And I think they would look at them and say, physically, they're not imposing. Athletically, they're not our equal. They reminded me, I think, with Bird having a reputation of being a state power, I think the antenna will be up for Woodside to finish the deal. I think Albemarle would have been the trickier matchup for Woodside of the possibilities in this field.
Well, to stop Woodside, you got to handle the pressure. They'll throw some run and jump at you. If you're not ready for it, you're going to be throwing the ball all over the place. And they thrive on transition, getting the quick buckets, pressuring you on both ends of the floor. So if you can slow them down, you're going to have to make them chase you around. And then you got to put the ball in the hole. I mean, it's one thing to stop a team, but if you can't score, and a low-scoring game will favor Bird. Most of Woodside's opponents, a low-scoring will favor them. They're an anxious team. They like to get out and go. They've got different guys that can put it up. And Barksdale, when he's playing hard, he's not a power player at 6'7", but he knows what to do around the rim, and they all connect very well. And again, having that situation from last year means a lot, and I think that's why I'm going to say at least a 10-point win in this.
I'm going to show you two clips. I'm going to show you the clip, the Woodside dunk, courtesy of Seven Cities Hoop Tape to Sean Webster, as well as the Bird Albemarle finish, courtesy of Scrimmage Play. These two clips, and you let me know which is better. They're both pretty special, but let us know what out there. We want you to comment on our page which you like more. Here it is. Let's give you both those clips right now. (47-45) final in that one. Well, the celebration was way more over the top for the second one, obviously. And Will Stevens' dunk was good, Ed. But as much as people have been raving about it to me, and I'm not hating on the kid, I don't think I am. He almost kind of throws it. Now his jump was incredible. Don't get me wrong. His leaping for a guard to do that's no small feat. When people told me how great it was, and even you, I thought it was a little more than what it was. I'm not trying to hate. I really am not. I'm not, but it didn't exceed or quite meet what I was hearing. People going, oh my gosh, like it was the greatest dunk of all time. That's all. That's all.
Let me preface. I heard people saying the Green Run kid got dunked on. In my book, no, he didn't. He was
I think he just slept over. Yeah,
being dunked on means you challenge a dunker up at the rim.
Yeah,
you're up in the air up the rim.
Now listen, it's impressive. I give it if I'm doing the dunk contest, I'm probably giving it about a 9. I'm not giving it a 10. Probably giving it a 9. I don't give it a 10.
Let's not give the Woodside people another chip. Their shoulders are already loaded.
It was good. Don't get me wrong. Now that shot though, that was Leitner-esque. He had to throw it all the way down the court, and he got it to go. That is as good as it gets, Ed. And I tell you what. And by the way, we do have to say this for those out there because we're talking about this play. Let's give the kudos to Demarion Hunt with that because Albemarle just hit free throws to take the lead with, I think it was about 1.8 seconds to go, and then they lose on this heartbreaking of a play, 47-45. And I throw this out to you real quickly, and I hate to do this because you were on the end of that against the Green Run against the late, great Ashley James at Norfolk Scope to go to states. This was to go to the state championship game. That's hard as Vinny now is going to shake his head with the ball.
He just ran in here out of nowhere.
Yeah, he said that happened. Buzzer beater, huh? I remember that. How many years ago was that, Coach? That was 5 years ago. I'll tell you what, that half court shot. I'm with you, Cavalier Connection. Give me the half court shot for the win. That's as good as it gets.
Let's make this clear.
March Madness.
as a fan, if you're asking me which one was more impressive, whatever.
Mhm.
Hey, Woodrow, no question, the buzzer, the Christian Leitner lookalike shot.
Oh,
No, he won a game for it. Okay, the dunk at Woodside, the game was already over by then. But that half court beat, and you know what I started thinking of after that? This whole week on national networks, the big issue was storming the court.
yes.
We've heard it. And from Jay Billis saying, arrest some of them.
I mean, Jay, calm down, Jay. Let's go easy. Now, Seth Greenberg, have you seen some of the, I don't have them on the screen. I wish I did, and wish I'd had our producers get this ready for us. Some of the folks that took Seth's ideas, and we'll get Seth Greenberg on. I know you would hit text now and then. We've had him on radio before. Seth yep. And he's got a busy schedule, so we might have to record it instead of having him live to arrange to work around his schedule as opposed to ours. We'll probably get the Hall of Famer David Teal on to talk some college hoops with a lot happening in the Commonwealth and beyond here, and some other guests as we get closer to tournament time.
And
go ahead.
Let our audience know we have a call into Jay Billis, but remember now, everybody wants Jay, but he knows us.
He does.
He's with us guys up at the
PLEX. Yep, we have.
We'll effort to get Jay on here too. But
by the way, don't ask like the question that the folks from was it Barstool did. I don't know if you saw that. He got really upset. One of the guys it got very tense. So he gets a little sensitive level on it, but people mad about it. So
people like coming on our shows because we're not.
Yeah, we're not going to.
Yeah, we're not controversial. We don't want to get into crazy.
Oh, you're not controversial. No, not you. That's not in your DNA. No.
It's in my contract not to be.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, that's why I get texts after every show about something you say or did or didn't do.
That's hits. That's what you got to have here. Hats hits. We got to have people listening. Okay.
Oh no, Lynn, you're the best. We appreciate you tuning in as always.
I really appreciate it, Lynn. And Lynn sent me some blessing this week. He says, you don't notice. He said, I don't know how you deal with Hatfield. I said,
he didn't say that.
I said, Lynn, the Lord has to have a space somewhere in heaven for me because I've already been in hell down here.
No, that's mean. Now that's just
dealing with
disrespectful. Why would you say such a thing?
But Lynn, I got an attorney. He don't say much. And he's always on the watch. Okay, he's always on the watch on this guy, just to make sure. Okay, Vinny.
Is he the one that set me up for jury duty? By the way, later this month, is he the one?
He's the one that told you how to get it.
How to get
out of jury duty.
Yeah.
Okay. But no, the turnaround shot was great. And in my 3 cents, because I know we got more else to talk about, storming the court when there's other players on it from the opposing team is 1,000% wrong.
Right.
You got to get those players out of there first because that's how things happen. Injury, fight, words exchanged. And some kids, when they storm the court, it's just to storm the court, just to be out there.
And take their phones out with the video. Let's put this out there. Yep.
As a coach, maybe of the winning team, I'm concerned about storming the court because how about my players get jumped on and hurt and in a situation, tweak a knee or whatever. So I understand why it happens. It's emotion and it involves kids. Like all the national pundits talking about, you can't outlaw on the college level. This is what college kids do. Yes, you can outlaw it. And I'm all for having fun, but at the other time, not at the expense of potential injury. And I think that's what Jay was trying to say was, I don't necessarily want them in jail, but let's make it enough where they know, okay, let's wait a few seconds, other team out of the way. Here we go. Okay. And I can see that. But, it's going to happen a lot. You just pray a fight don't break out for it. And like the Duke kid, that he doesn't get hurt. And everybody bashing Duke for complaining, well, y'all do it, you're camming crazies. Let's back off of that. Everybody does it. It was because the Duke kid got slightly hurt, not so much, I think, because they lost, which we picked a loss anyway, so they shouldn't have been that big of a deal.
Oh, yeah, you got that Wake Forest upset as a 2.5 favorite. As a 2.5 point favorite. Yeah, you and Vinny got it right. As a 2.5 point favorite to beat Duke. And I lost the Baylor-Houston game in overtime. I tell you what, I had Baylor winning that game, and they fell to Kelvin Sampson and the Cougars. Something about Kelvin Sampson just rubs me the wrong way. I know I gave him credit last week, and I got called a phony by our pal Lamar Barrett out there. I just something rubs me the wrong way about that. I don't know. Houston, they can't make free throws. They defend, and Sampson's got a history of maybe not playing by the set of rules that he should. So, yeah, we'll see. And we do have some top 25 buy or sell coming up here on the show. Like I said, we got Eric Brown coming up. You'll hear as he spoke with our Jack Lowe from Cova Sports TV after their monumental win over the Verona Blue Devils. Huge win. And then also we have Shauna Bailey joining us come up around 11:05 this morning here on Cova Sports TV. Again, like, share, and subscribe to the YouTube page. We're going to take a timeout, come back with more look at the brackets, get Ed's take on that. Also, the new hire of Mike Jones at Old Dominion. It's all coming your way. Send us any comments you got, questions, opinions. We always want to hear from you, your input. You are why we do this for you all out there, the fans. It is Cova Sports TV 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Now we hear from some of the sponsors that make it all possible for us at the PLEX and beyond. Stay tuned.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
Let's go!
Woo! Woo! Yeah! Football time! Set the tone. Kyle, tie your shoes, tie your shoes. Yeah, good job. Woo! Yeah!
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
I'm gonna start by saying this. We the best. You know I got another one. I am the first one to have the keys to the all-new platform, Gatorade ID. It's for members only. It gives you access to my exclusive vibe. The collection is limited, and you have to be part of the family to cop. Matter of fact, sign up right now at Gatorade.com. I'm out. With love. Gatorade.
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe, whether you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, InstaFace, Snapgram, chat stuff, as Ed likes to call all that different stuff, and VirginiaPreps.com.
Are we on MySpace?
No, we're not. I don't know if MySpace even exists anymore. I'm not sure it does. There's the Class 4 bracket, Ed, as you see it there for VHSL state tournament action. Verona beating Churchland by 10. Blue Devils of their 22 wins. All of them, I do believe, were by double digits, but the Crabbers beat Dinwiddie in a game you saw in the quarterfinal round at Heritage. Loudoun Valley defeating Jefferson Forest. Fifth meeting between Tuscarora and Loudoun Valley. Tuscarora won the first three, lost the fourth one, and three of them were close, by the way, in the region championship. But the Huskies, who went to Charlottesville, they avenged the loss to the Vikings from the region final, and they'll take on the Hampton Crabbers coming up in the state finals on Friday, March the 8th, 2:30. That'll come right after the girls' game at 12:30 involving Shonda Bailey's Crabbers taking on Woodgrove, a really, really talented team with a couple Division I players coming up. But our man Jack Lowe from Cova Sports TV got a chance to catch up with the head basketball coach of the Hampton Crabbers after that great win on Friday night over the reigning two-time state champion Verona Blue Devils. And we're talking about Eric Brown with Jack. Let's give that now a watch and a listen here on Cova Sports TV. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
All right, I'm here with Coach Brown after Hampton's victory over Verona in the state semifinals. Coach, have you had a chance to catch your breath after that very close finish?
No, I haven't. I knew I knew when we made the run, they were going to make a run. A championship team is not going to go down without a fight. They wasn't done. I just was, hoping we could handle it. I thought we could. We just had to get our bearings, and they really showed poor because I had to burn my last time out with 2:28 in the game, and it was a long way to go. But just proud of our guys.
So what do you tell your guys in the last few minutes of those timeouts there? I mean, it's inevitable, not inevitable, but the comeback was happening. There's no denying that, but how do you get your guys to finish like that and to stay locked in and to be able to finish the game, make those clutch free throws?
I mean, it's the close games we've had all year. I mean, we've had, Patriots playing, in the semifinal, close game. Woodside, of course, we played them twice, overtime. They can't, they beat us, of course. But Oscar Smith, they playing in the semifinals, played them in overtime. I just think it's the close games we've had, and when we get down the stretch like this, I just think our guys just hold firm, and we rely on our defense. Our whole thing was when that whole run was going on, we didn't want to give up a three because they shoot the three so well. We just didn't want to give up a three, and I thought we really keyed in on that three ball tonight.
What would you say has been your team's biggest factor to success this year?
Just playing together and how we guard. I thought, they hold each other accountable. They be able to get on each other. But how we guard, and the different, we could play with a lot of versatility. People try to speed us up and think we couldn't go fast because we're a little bit bigger. But that's actually how we got to run when they tried to press us. When they kind of slowed back up, they brought the game back to where it was. So we just got to, our team has a lot of versatility. And but again, it goes back to, like I said, we didn't play the tough schedule this year.
Yep. So how do you guys prepare in practice for the next week? You get to go to VCU next week for the state championships. How do you prepare in practice? Get ready.
You prepare like you prepare every day. Well, number one, we're not doing nothing tomorrow. These guys deserve a day off. I deserve a day off. Then I'll be right back at it watching film on whoever we have to play. Right now, it's a mental game. You don't want any surprises. And, we'll find out who we're playing, and we're prepared with the same amount of detail that we prepare for every single body that we play. I prepare for everyone like we lost the last game. So, we're prepared for them, very detailed like we did this game, and hopefully we'll, come out on top.
Quick thoughts here. So just how's it feel going to VCU?
Oh, it feels good. It feels good. The kids have worked hard. I've won one before, two as assistant. I mean, I like it for the kids. The kids that put a lot of work in. They done heard my mouth for many months, and it's good for them to feel what it feels like to be on this side and to join our girls. It's just something special to join the ladies going up there, support them. They support us. We one big family, Crabber family, and it feels great. A lot of work put in to get to this last game, and we're gonna prepare for it, and we'll be ready when Friday gets here.
All right, we are back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
How did you just come out of the coffee table? You just came from under the coffee table. So you got like a secret passage in this story.
Secret pathway. You saw that, right? That was live on too.
Lindbergh, what did I tell you? What did I tell you? Nobody wants to listen to me. This yo-yo just came out of a secret passage under the coffee table in the house.
That's unbelievable.
This is what I'm dealing with. Vinny?
What did you think of the interview besides what you just watched there on that was it's live TV on Cova Sports TV. What did you think of Coach Brown's comments? I didn't talk it out right apparently on my return. Go ahead.
I'm dealing with a warlock, okay? And people out there don't understand the pains I go through. Hey, Eric Brown does a tremendous job. I had the chance, we scrimmaged him this year. I've seen his teams play a million times. I watched them up close. They played Dinwiddie this week. Dinwiddie much better than I thought. Physical, in your face, talk you some junk, but they can play. And they gave Hampton a heck of a problem. But Eric figured it out. And so one thing about Eric Brown, and I can't say this about a lot of coaches, he's going to watch you. If he hasn't watched you ahead of time, he's going to figure you out in the game. He's going to make adjustments. Now, it's up to the kids, obviously, to do the adjustments. We all, as coaches, have the pen in our hand. We all are great on the board writing stuff. Our brains have the information to do, but you got to get across to kids. His kids turned it up against Dinwiddie. They went on an 11-0 run. It was in the middle of the third quarter.
Sure.
Game away. And Eric made a great comment. People try to speed him up. People try to slow him down. They're very good at what pace you want to play. They can do that. And that's why I think they're equipped to keep going further as they go into the state championship game, that they're ready to play this kind of pace. The big thing with them, he's relying on some youngsters, which it could be up and down as that goes. And, you know, they're coming on the VCU floor. You got to see what they can do. But his execution, his ability to make adjustments is one of the best around, period.
He was great. Listen, he was with Walter Brower. You played him in a memorable playoff game at the Scope. I think it was like 2012-ish, if that sounds right, 13-ish, when you had Dontrell, Brett, Shannon Evans. He had that group with Anthony Cat Barber, who went to NC State, and Jordan Baker went to Old Dominion. Sammy the Bull Royal, who was really good for them. And some unsung players stepped up throughout that run. But let's just call it what it is. I'm going to say this, and I'm going to make some fans mad. I'm ruffle feathers here. I'm going to tell some people to shut up. Just shut up. Listen, there are people on social media, on Facebook, complaining, and you know where I'm going with this, about how dare he get Peninsula District Coach of the Year for Stephon Walsh. Listen, Stephon Walsh has done a wonderful job at Woodside. This is taking nothing from Stephon, who's deserving of that award, other accolades, chance to get 2-time state titles. But look at what Eric Brown did at Hampton. He lost his best player and leading scorer in Jalen Wynn to Peninsula Catholic. They were not supposed to get to this point and go beat Verona in the semifinals. And here he is with a solid group. Malik Johnson averaging just under 14 points a game. Deron Ball, the point guard who played great, we saw against Kings Fork in snapping their long home winning streak. Abraham Taft, he's a sophomore, Swiss Army knife. Gavin Kay, sophomore big guy who's putting up close to 8 rebounds per game, double-double type of player, Division I prospect. But this is not a loaded Hampton team, seasoned Hampton team. They've had some better teams. And for them to lose only 2 games all year playing the schedule they have, one of them to overtime in Woodside, one of them opener of the season at Woodside. They've gotten better from game 1 to now. They've played a bunch of state teams. Woodside twice, obviously. Kempsville in the Iverson Showcase, who made the state quarterfinals. Patriot, who they beat, by the way, after blowing a big lead, who's got a chance to win the Class 6 state title. You know, he referenced the schedule. Kings Fork, a perennial power in Class 4, now in Class 5. Hats off to him. I don't think he gets enough credit for the job he's done at Hampton, coming in after a legend in Walter Brower.
I agree with you. And you know,
and people, by the way, real quick, to say he doesn't deserve Coach of the Year, just shut up. That they don't know what they're talking about. That's not to say Welsh doesn't deserve it, but you people saying that, I'm going to say it flat out, you're moronic. You're moronic. You have no idea what you're talking about. There you go.
I'm glad because now they'll get on you instead of me. I like that.
Again, I didn't say Welsh shouldn't have got it. I'm not saying that. But to say he doesn't deserve it, like people are saying, they're idiotic. Go ahead.
Yeah. You know, let me just, I'll throw my 9 cents in this. When I vote for Coach of the Year, and I've done it millions of times, I'm going to simply say this out loud, and I've said it and I'll back it. I look at who was picked where at the beginning of the year or where I thought people would finish.
The expectations, who's done what and who's exceeded those bars.
If I got a coach that was picked towards the bottom, I didn't think he had great talent, and he finishes up high, my vote, Coach of the Year. Now, what? And you and I have argued about this. Okay, so the guy, Phil Jackson, wins it every year.
Sure.
Or a high school coach goes undefeated in their conference or whatever. He can't win it? Well, under the way I do it, no. If you're picked high or you're picked to win it, you got excessive talent and you win it, you did what you're supposed to do. It's not a knock on your coaching, okay? This is what young coaches have to understand. Stop going for individual coaching awards. That's an insecurity. If your team is winning, and when you win a state title, what more can you do? That's your trophy. When I was younger, I wanted every Coach of the Year award there was. If I didn't get one, I'd go buy one because I wanted to feel like I can coach. But my veteran coaches, my mentors, got me right and said, it ain't about you. It's about what your team can do on the floor. Can they take out of your head what you want done and perform? It's about your kids winning. And if your kids are successful, not just on the court, but off the court, and you can go deep in the playoff and win a state title, that's all the trophy you need. So these people that are, I laugh at it. But you're right. If you're going to come out and disparage a person like Eric and say he didn't deserve, and Eric's not worried about that. He's too bad.
No.
And you have to let that go. But, and again, I want the people to understand, and we're talking about what's going on in the Peninsula District.
You can have two great coaches, and they're both playing for state championships, and they could have easily gone co-coach of the year. But as I can tell you, having heard stories from meetings like yours and seen the votes from other meetings and seen coaches put players 8th or 9th on a player of the year ballot when the kid's going to finish top 3 from everybody else, it makes me shake my head at what some of these guys are doing and gals in these meetings. It is sometimes distasteful. I'm not going to lie, but then you get on social media and you read some of the comments and it makes you even queasier.
Yeah, and you got to let it go. Like the all-region meeting, Woodside should have had Stevens guard should have been first team.
I think Travis Hamilton should have been first team, not just him.
And I had Hamilton.
He put up 60+ points in the game, man. Let's be honest here. The fact he didn't make first team all region, he had a 60-point game. I know it was against Gloucester. That just tells me not everybody and not everybody in the meeting either A, did their homework, or B, was aware of that. Because to me, if a kid scores 60 in a game, it could be against, JFK Middle for what we're talking about. That's nothing to sneeze at. I don't understand some of the consistency and logic with some of it, but end of the day, I think it's great that we have a number of quality teams here, and the Hampton story should be told that they are here after losing a key player and that they're in position after beating Verina, who I thought was as good as any public in the state. Ed, I thought Verina was as good as any public in the state with KJ Weiss, point guard, who was decorated the only public school McDonald's All-American nominee. They hit a ton of threes in our Virginia Preps Classic against Green Run. And again, riding a long winning streak, had no losses to a Virginia school. They got down double digits, as you saw in the interview, and you'll see some highlight package coming up from the game from Jack Lowe, who was there. Some of the great shots in the packed house that was there for that ball game. But kudos to the Crabbers to win that ball game, because I did not think they would beat Verina. I was wrong. I thought it'd be a close game, but I gave the edge to the Blue Devils, and here they are playing for a title in Class 4 against Tuscarora.
Yeah, I again, and put this to rest, I scrimmaged Hampton beginning of the year, and the reason I did it because I know they're going to go deep, though they weren't really back then. Picked a lot, and even Eric said he's got some question marks. Lost a couple players, and I know he had a good, really good young team because he had some kids in that future league, some big young ones coming. And I said, well, this is a team I want to scrimmage because this is probably a team that's going to be there in the end. I didn't know it'd be all the way to the championship game, but they were. And by the way, they crushed us, but we picked some stuff up out of that game. But it's kind of neat because Shonda, who we're going to have be coming up here pretty soon with the girls, they talk about Crabber Nation, whatever. They're all there, and they do
Crabber Pride. Yeah.
It's a Crab Fest. So next Friday, maybe if they both win, we'll get maybe in the interview room or something. Maybe they'll bring some bucket of crab. I'm not a crab eater, but
you're not a crab eater.
No, I don't.
You are pretty crabby.
They boil those things alive. I can't handle that. They throw them in the pot alive.
Yeah, so well, you're not a crab eater, but you're often crabby. I can tell you that.
No, I'm only crabby.
No, you're crabby.
Things that go array that not
Listen,
supposed to.
I had so many people come up to me and they say we're excited to talk to you and see you at Norfolk State during the regionals, and they just said, "Man, he's still crabby from the loss." I was like, "Yeah, listen," I said, "Ed lets things linger for a while." Some of them were even afraid to approach you. I said, "He's not going to bite. He's not an alligator. He's not a crocodile. He's not going to."
I had a lot of people come up top. Bob Panabaker said, by the way, sends his regards.
Yeah. Lake Taylor AD.
I don't know if you were still living. I said, "Yeah, he is."
Oh, they would know if I was still living. Okay.
Yeah, I've had people. I had somebody come up to me and say, "I didn't know. Not only did I know you were still coaching, I didn't know you were still alive." I said, "Well, I hope so. I hope I still got some more years." Hey, look, man, I love basketball. I love the kids. Interact with coaches. Roger Smith came by yesterday, was talking. Yeah, it hurts sitting over there because we were so close this year, and we didn't get there. And there's other teams too, but I can only go what's in my head. And sometimes that's a trip in itself.
Yeah, that's a scary thing at times. And I have to be the one that explains what's in your head sometimes, which is sometimes inexplicable. So,
but when I'm watching a game, I do really watch it hard. I watch the officials. I make mental notes about officials. Are these guys I want to do my games? I watch how they officiate. It's like I'm evaluating officials, and I'm always playing chess in the games. Like, okay, I'm on defense, and this is what this team is doing. How do I adjust? It's my way of trying to focus in. And I'll have people say, man, it looked like you were into this game or you were mad. But my mind is a different way. I'm not just glad handing everybody and walking through the crowd and shaking hands. I'm there to watch a game. But I love when people come up and talk some hoops and reminisce about some things. I love that. That's part of the game. It's part of me being with you on here. And people, I appreciate everybody out there. A lot of love about the podcast. I've heard this week not only at Norfolk State, but when I went up to the Heritage to watch the Hampton games. Some people I don't know coming out of the stand, some older gentlemen. Hey, Coach, I really like your show. You and you keep that Hatfield guy straight. And, you say some crazy stuff. And I'm like, keep watching. Keep watching. We're trying to get it right. I can't wait till we get the phone lines where people can call in and we can go back and forth with them on here. So it's fun. It's like I said, it's a great time of the year. I just wish one of these days before I do croak over that I can get a team back into VCU. But if not, I'm going to be there anyways. And my record at VCU, if I'm not mistaken, about 9 years now, it's like 31-0. So
You never lost. How about that?
No.
You're almost as good as Leon Goolsby at VCU, huh?
Yeah. His seat's a little bit better than mine, but he's got he's won 4, right? And then of course
I don't think he's ever lost on that floor.
And then we got the King of Rings coming. You know who we're talking about.
Darnell Dozier. Well, here real quickly as we go to break, and we'll talk about the class 6-5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for girls, as well as the rest of the boys that we didn't hit on with 3, 2, and 1, including Luke Taylor from the Norfolk area in the 7-5-7. Tuscarora took out undefeated Charlottesville, but then they fell to Woodgrove. 27-1 they were, and then they became 28-1. And the Hampton girls, we'll be hearing from Coach Sean DeBilly here in a moment. They were down, Ed, on Friday night by 15 points at Heritage to Monacan, a perennial power, and they got it done with the victory over them 66-56 after dispatching Chancellor in the quarterfinal round. Really good bracket here in Class 4. Jamestown, a tip of the hat to them. 22-2. They won their first 22 games before falling to Hampton and Monacan, two worthy teams that have been contenders for years now. And here it is with the Crabbers. After graduating Kennedy Harris to George Mason, here they are back in the mix. Another quality group for Coach Bailey with Kalia Perry at the forefront of their attack.
Yeah, I'm anxious to talk with Sean. I watched their game against the Chancellor up at Heritage, and they just woman-handled Chancellor the whole game. I mean, there was a little run in there, but Sean had nothing to worry about, though she had her coaching helmet on at the end of the game talking about, we got to go over those mistakes. I said, Shonda, you let up a little bit, but that's typical with young kids. Very impressed with her big girls inside. They know where to go. They know where to catch the ball, and they know what to do with the ball when they get it. That's not a given in high school, especially women's sports, in women's basketball, not a guarantee, because sometimes the physicality is not where it needs to be. But her girls, physical, and they'll go. And her guard play, even though sometimes it's a little all over the place, they'll get by you real easy. And they'll be going in for a layup or they dish it the last second. They play extremely well together. I think she makes great adjustments. Also, maybe getting a little touch from Eric, or maybe Eric's getting a little touch from her. They make adjustments very well. I know they're going up against a powerhouse, a real powerhouse, but I don't count them out. And I'm going with the upset. I think Hampton plays this off. It's going to be a nail biter, where we're going to add a couple years to Shonda's age, but I think it's going to be a nail biter, and I think it's potentially a 2-point game.
Well, there we go. You have it there. You probably can't see it, as I don't know if we can zoom in on it enough. This bracket we've got for you. Central Wise, John Marshall girls, Virginia High, John Marshall boys coming up on Thursday. It's going to be Eastside versus Brunswick in the girls on Thursday. Class 1. Class 1 boys features Auburn at 23-6, Lancaster at 25-2. Woodgrove versus Hampton girls at 12:30 on Friday. Tickets are $12, by the way, for each session, 2 games per session. Tuscarora boys against Hampton as well. And then you have on Saturday, Manchester, Thomasdale, South Lakes Patriot. Saturday has James River, Princess Anne, and LC Bird, Woodside. We're going to take a timeout and come back with the head coach of the Lady Crabbers of Hampton High School, defending state champs, trying to make it back-to-back. That is Sean DeBailey, after we hear from some of our sponsors to make it possible for us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Back in a bit.
We're celebrating everyone who creates joy because joy is bold and full of color, and it can't be contained. This is my joy.
Boom, dum, dum. Get low, get low, get low. 369, ooh, she fine. Hoping she can sing it to me one more time. Get low, get low, get low, get low.
Grab a Pepsi Wild Cherry and get wild.
Welcome back to 757 Sports Talk. No, it's not in the pool. It's Hatfield and Young at the PLEX, the Virginia Beach Sportsplex. Here are two guys that, even though they never shut up, they're always dropping pearls of wisdom. Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we are now with you here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Glad you're tuned in wherever you're watching, whether it be on YouTube, on Cova Sports TV, VirginiaPreps.com, our Facebook page, as well as 757 Sports Talk on Twitter or X. We have a special guest with us, the head girls basketball coach of the reigning Class 4 state champion Hampton Lady Crabbers. They were victorious, coming from behind on Friday night at Heritage High School, 66-56 over Monacan. We say hello and congratulations to Coach Shonda Bailey. Coach, good to have you with us. What a thriller you had on Friday night. You're back in the state finals at VCU, huh? Coach, can you hear us? All right, we've got Coach on the screen, but for some reason I don't know if she can hear us at the moment. We see her there, but we'll see if we can work on getting that.
We got to get her.
All right, we've got Coach on the screen, but having some trouble hearing us here. Coach, can you hear us out there by chance? Let's try if we can reconnect with her here and get her back on the screen here. But we are efforting Coach Shonda Bailey, who you saw there for a second, but let's see if she can hear us now on the screen here as we bring Coach Bailey in. Coach, can you hear us now? Coach, do you have us? All right, we're having some trouble with her hearing us on the screen. I know she can see us, but I don't think she can quite hear me out there. Coach, can you hear me? All right, we're going to see if we can get her to reconnect by chance, as she's having trouble getting us connected on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk with Coach Young. Coach, you tried talking to her. For some reason, she's having a hard time hearing. Well, we just lost her. We'll see if we can get her back on the screen here in a second. So she did just say she can't hear us at the moment. So, Ed, can you hear me? You've got me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I can't. Right. I heard some noise in the background with Shonda, but we're not hearing Shonda. Maybe we got to send her the link, email it to her or something or whatever.
Right. I will try doing that here in just a moment as we will recalibrate that. But your quick thought as we've got Lake Taylor boys, Ed, as well as the Hampton girls, Hampton boys. Who else we have from? I guess, do you want to count Lancaster as part of it?
We can. It's a little bit further up north, but are they in the 757 area code?
I mean, I think it's 804 technically.
Well, if it's 804, we can't claim them. We can't claim them.
Okay.
That's the way it is. But I did watch Lake Taylor destroy. It was at James Monroe last night.
All right.
In fact, left at halftime like half the audience did.
Okay.
I think Shonda can hear us now.
She's got us now. We bring in the head coach. We'll do a reintroduction. All right, now she's got
now it's good.
The Hampton Lady Crabbers, her team winning a thriller on Friday night, 66-56 over Monacan, down double digits. Coach, what a ball game you had on Friday night. I bet your heart stopped about 12 times in the game, huh?
It was a tough one. They played us really well in the first half, and we were just so flat. But second half, they were able to make a huge improvement. So, yep, proud of them.
If I understood correctly, go ahead.
Let me interrupt this and say this. Shonda, you're the only guest we can have that as long as your picture's on here, we don't hear you, our ratings still will go up. I'm just putting that out there because people listen to him and me and we lose ratings. So we just put you up every week. We're guaranteed to keep climbing up the ladder because we're now the third rated podcast show in the state at this kind of level with you. We're probably we would be
one coach if it wasn't for Ed babbling and running his mouth so much. But hey, I want to know this real quickly. If I understand right, you had a freshman that sparked the comeback for you in the third quarter. Is that right?
Oh my gosh, yes. Gianna Price, her sister actually played on our first state championship team, Jada Price. But little Gianna, we call her Gigi. I mean, just out of nowhere, she's always been a very solid ball handler for us. Comes in and gives us great minutes, but that second half, she was just playing so well. There was no way we could take her out the game.
Now, was that, and I'll let Ed jump in here, was that something you and the staff talked about at halftime? We have to change the momentum of the game. Had she been in similar spots before? You obviously play some quality opponents in your league, like a Menchville and outside the Peninsula District. Was it something that just kind of came on the fly that you said, I'm going to do this?
We always put her in the game when we need an extra ball handler because she's just so low to the ground. She's quick. She handles the ball very well, and she just doesn't get the ball taken away from her. So we know yesterday that we needed some offense. She's feisty, and we needed some guard play. I think our guards, we try to get the ball inside. That's no secret. We're pretty big in the paint, but it wasn't working yesterday, and we needed some guard play. And she just came in and hit one, and we let her stay, and she hit another. She did a great job.
One other thing that made me smile when I read about the recap of this game was that, last year in our state championship, we watched you win over Pulaski County. You had Kennedy Harris drop 35 points. You were a perfect 14 of 14 from the free throw line in that ball game. And last night, 16 of 19 from the foul line, 11 of 13 in the fourth quarter. So though you don't have Kennedy anymore, who's at George Mason, you still got the girls practicing and making those free throws.
Oh, yeah. Before they leave practice, we'll tell them make 50. Not shoot 50, make 50. And don't get out of here until you make 50. So I think at this time of the year that it's going to come down to things like that. Who doesn't turn the ball over the most? Who can control the boards? Who can hit free throws? It's little things that matter at this point in the year. And we've been here long enough and enough times to know that. So we practice those things and try to get it done.
Ed?
Well, Sean, I saw your game with Chancellor up at Heritage. And a question I always have for coaches when you get to this level, you have not a whole lot of time to prepare for regional/states. We have to either pick our poison. Are we going to be concerned with what they're doing, try to get as much tape, watch, take away something from them? Or do you kind of reinvest in what you're doing and fix it up? How do you, as a championship coach, do that?
That's a good question. My coaches and I, we start looking in the region and on the other side of the bracket towards the end of the season. So we know who's out there. We watch film every now and again. We'll check scores. So by the time it gets to this part of the year, we've seen them play 2-3 times. Everybody. Like right now, I'm so sick of watching film. I mean, everybody starts to look the same. All the teams start to look the same. But we do kind of focus on their main players and what they do. But we just try to perfect what it is that we're doing. We feel like you have to beat us, not necessarily us coming in there and beating you. So we're going to make it hard for the opposing team. That's what we try to do.
And the reason I ask you and watch it, and I didn't know nothing about Chancellor, but in watching that, and I even text Matt early, I said, what am I doing here? This is a blowout. How is Chancellor here? Then I saw after a while, they got some shooters, but you completely took them out of the game early. And I thought going inside really put a hurt on because their girls inside could not hang. They were not in shape to play you inside, and you hurt them from inside out. Now, I know we talked briefly after the game, and you had mentioned you're a little upset with some of the perimeter later in the game as they came back. And my comment to you was some of the kids relaxed. You had a big lead. They relaxed out front. They penetrated in. And they hit those shooters, and they were knocking them down. But as a fan, I can say I wasn't worried because the game was pretty much over at that point. They were mentally out of the game, but I mean they're still trying to do it. They are a regional type team. But I thought it was interesting on how you took away that perimeter game, but then on your offensive end, you made a hard attempt to pound it inside, which we don't see that much in high school basketball anymore. You don't see it at any level. Throw the ball inside. Your kids, and I made no comment to Matt when I was texting him, any boys game, girls game I've seen this year, I thought you did the best job of getting the ball inside.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, I definitely think we have the biggest front court in the state in any division. Like our girls they're tall, they're strong, and they can play inside. And we just try to use that to our advantage.
Well, now I'm probably still in Matt's question. Woodgrove, you said you lost a ton of film and you're tired of watching it. what do they present to you right off the top of your head?
Guard play. I mean, that's the same with all these teams. None of the teams that we faced in the state are big and have any type of inside presence. They normally have, one main guard and then a shooter. And we're just looking to take that away. So, hopefully we're successful at doing that.
And it looks like their 3-point shooting. You mentioned it with Ed there, Shonda, that the quarterfinal game with Chancellor, they had some perimeter pieces, but just following from afar what they have with Shores and Knights and some of the weaponry they have on that team, if you take them off the 3-point line or run them off the 3-point line, that can be a big deal to your favor to kind of get the tempo where you want it, maybe get to the free throw line down the stretch and have a chance to pull it out.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're just going to go out there and do what we do. We're going to play defense. We try to not let shooters get comfortable, not let the ball handlers get comfortable, bringing the ball up the floor and try to prevent people from getting into their offense. And that's what our goal is every single game. And we're going to try to do that next Friday as well.
A few more minutes here with Coach Shonda Bailey of the Hampton Lady Crabbers, going back to the state championship game after winning it a season ago. They'll be playing on Friday, March the 8th at 12:30 p.m. at the Siegel Center in Richmond on the campus of VCU. It's $12 for tickets. Going out there and support the Hampton girls and boys who will be playing following the Hampton girls in the state championship game at 2:30 against Tuscarora. And if you can't make it there, you can watch Ed and myself and others give the broadcast on the NFHS network. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Coach, let's go through the personnel of your team. We mentioned Kennedy graduated, but you have Kalia Perry, player of the year performer, and some others that have stepped up for you throughout the season. Let's highlight those young ladies if we can.
Okay, so of course, Kennedy was a big hit losing her, but like I told the media last night, I think she just left a lasting impact on our players. So Katie, Kalia Perry, everybody calls her Katie, and I call her Grandma from time to time. She's our voice of our team, and the player on our team that most opponents choose to hone in on. Katie just does everything on the floor for us. She takes the ball out of bounds, she scores, she rebounds, she helps relieve pressure. I do want to highlight Jaden Hunter. She's actually been leading us in scoring throughout the playoffs. She was hurt the first half of the season, couldn't play until maybe right around midway, but Jaden has just been phenomenal. I forgot how many she had last night. I think 21, 22 maybe. Just stays around the basket. She finishes well. She jumps high. And then we have some babies. The babies are the ones that really have been coming through for us really well. Gianna Price, who you saw play last night. Lila Ames, she's another post player that we have, but she can also play the wing. She steps out, can shoot threes, consistently hit them. And then we start another freshman, Kyra Bienemy. She does really well. Our starting point guard, Dreana Foster. She played last year with Kennedy and the year before that. She has done a great job this season. I mean, just handling pressure. She got us back in the game too last night, knocking down some threes. She's been playing very well for us. And our other post player that we have, Deja Linton Robinson. Deja is strong inside. She comes in off the bench and gives us great minutes. She starts some games throughout the year. And then our player to me who just does a little bit of everything is Corinne Tynes. Corinne has started just about every single game for me while I've been coaching at Hampton High School. Corinne she does all the dirty work. She's going to box out. She's going to defend the best player. When we played Jamestown, she actually defended Maddie. And I think she kept it about 8 points. Corinne is just tenacious. She plays hard. She's going to be on the floor getting every 50-50 ball. So, we have some kids out there. Our motto this year was by committee, especially when you lose a kid like Kennedy who can just give you 30. This year, we let the kids know that if we're going to win, it has to be done by committee. Everybody has to contribute, and they've been doing a great job doing that.
Two things I love about Shonda, Ed, is one, she told me before the season at the Sports Center in Virginia Beach, a team to watch out for that was not on a lot of radars was Deep Creek, and she nailed that because they got to the region championship, lost it in the state semis yesterday to Princess Anne and Coach Darnell Dozier. And two, we ask coaches all the time, give us some highlight players. We'll send out these preseason survey forms, those type of things. The media does it, the newspapers do it, and some coaches will hold it close to the vest, but she must have rattled off a number of players which is awesome to hear just the genuine love and care and what it means to have those players contribute to a team.
Yep. I love my kids, and I respect all the other kids in the district as well. Talent is what it is. And, I knew Deep Creek had some good kids up there. So, and they're young too, they're babies. So good things to come for them.
Well, Sean, I got to tell you, one of your own nemesis, I watched him last night. Another one, Darnell Dozier. I told him, give me one of his old rings so he can have room for what can do one, because he's going to win it again. And his best players are all young, but you call them babies. That's what he's got.
Oh yeah. Micah Ojo, she is the truth. But Darnell and I have been in contact quite regularly these last couple of weeks. So it's like a rivalry, but it's all love. He wishes me well, I wish him well. So we'll be there Saturday rooting for him, and he'll be there Friday rooting for me. So
and Sean, there's another interesting dynamic. We had Eric on earlier, and Matt and I talked about this too. You guys, you and Eric, it's almost like you're on each other's staff. In fact, you are, because you coached the boys in the Future League. And of course, I've been rallying for you for years. And when people say to me, who are some female coaches that can coach boys? I'm like, Shauna Bailey is by far number one, but not only this level, the next level, which you've done in the past. But you guys have an interesting dynamic. You talk a lot, you correspond a lot. He mentioned you in his interview. I don't know if you saw his tape, that it's really neat. You're all going to have a crab fest, as I call it, next Friday up at VCU. But you do support each other, and that's not a given on a lot of high school staffs. There's sometimes a little bit of look the other way. Talk about that interesting dynamic.
It is, it is just what you said. Eric and I grew up in the same neighborhood. Quite ironically, we used to ride the bus together at high school. So we both are crabbers. I've known his family, since I was young, mom, sister. So it is a family dynamic. When I actually came back to Hampton, he was somebody who contacted me and kind of convinced me to come back and take the job. And I did that. And starting off, any game that we played, you could see E at the end of my bench just standing there, kind of, reassuring me and giving me guidance and telling me things that he sees and what I should do. And, we just got off to a great start. And I want to see him win just as much as he wants to see me win. I think he is a great coach. He's in it for the kids, and I can't think of anybody more deserving to win that. So we do, you'll see him walking through my practice. He'll call me and tell me what he sees or what he thinks I should do. And I do the same for him. I go to his practices quite regularly, tell him things that I see. So it really is a family dynamic. Our football coach even comes to our practice. So it's I think just the Crabber family is just something special and something very different than you see at most schools.
That's so true, Ed, because we noticed that last year during her state championship, Eric Brown sitting behind the bench, he was into it. He was at every possession. And I watched you this year, Coach, at the Hampton Woodside boys game. You're at the end of the bench, and I'm watching every time, as I'm watching the game, charting stats, and you were into it as well. So you're living and breathing every possession, just like the players and the coaches there. And one follow-up here before I let Ed finish up with you here. We thank you so much for coming on. Is you hit on something, and so did Coach, about coaching the boys in the Future League. And we've talked about this on our show, both on radio now and podcast form before, about we think the day is going to come where there will be a women's head basketball coach, even in the NBA. What do you think about that? And women coaching men's sports, if you will, besides just the fact of, men coaching girls sports, men coaching women's sports, women coaching. What's your feeling on that as it's changing before our very eyes?
It definitely can be done. Men are in our sport coaching every day and getting the respect that I feel women deserve. But I think if the personality is right, I think that's major. It has to be a very strong personality. I really think the Warwick coach, she's done a great job to me. You know, it wasn't reflective on the scoreboard, but just watching her on the sideline, you know, she's tough. You know, she doesn't let up on those kids, and they're playing 100% better this year than I've seen them play in the last couple of years. So I think if the personality is right and you have the right staff, you know, and you know, a group of kids that want to win, it definitely can be done. And as far as our boys are concerned, this summer they wanted to win and they listened. They were respectful. And then there are guys that weren't going to let them be disrespectful to me because I was a female. So, I mean, it definitely worked. It helped us. Our boys went undefeated this summer. And I think that helped give them the spark and the confidence that they carried throughout the season. You know, that helped spark it.
Well, I know one thing. If Shauna's coaching a boys team, ain't no way I'm going against her. Number one, she's getting all – well, I won't say number one. Number one would be she can coach. Number two, she's going to bat her eyes at the male officials and get every call.
I
know
they don't give me calls now. They don't do that.
It'll be a sexist call, a sexist statement I just made. Or the lady referees will want to see her win because I'm the old dude on the other side being a male. So there ain't no way if she ever gets a job on the boys' side, I'm playing her regardless. So.
Don't do that. No, I have my problems with officials as well. Some of them just they couldn't care less that I'm a female over there. You know, they're gonna. Some of them make it harder for me, believe it or not. But you know, we'll see.
Hey, my favorite before we let you run here, Coach, and we think it's coming on the podcast. We're looking forward to your game coming up this week. Is did Ed ever tell you the story of how he got a technical less than 2 minutes into a game against the late great Ben Moore? Did you ever hear that story or no?
No, I haven't heard it.
He was speaking of referees. He asked in his whimsical way, his sarcastic way. They asked him to move the chair, and Ed snapped back with one of his remarks. And Ed's probably not gotten technicals he's deserved 8 or 9 times, and he got a tee and had to sit the rest of the game. And me and Ben just laughed the whole rest of the night because it was one of the funniest things ever. He snapped back at the guy. So yeah, Ed's got to be careful. He can get teased now with this generation of referees.
See, you can't do that, Ed. You gotta save it. You gotta save the text for when it's really worth it.
Shonda, I haven't had a tee in a long time.
That was the last one, right?
It might have been. The guy came over and said, that chair can't be there. It has to be moved. So I said to him, if you're going to worry about a chair on the sidelines, then you need to sit down and let me referee the game. And then I got banged. I mean, I don't know why that was a T. I guess I told him, you move the chair because I ain't moving it because it had no effect on the game whatsoever.
You lost the game, right? Didn't you lose that game?
No, we won that game.
No, I think you lost that game.
You sure? Maybe I'm getting
sure.
Yeah. You got to know how to talk to officials. You got to know how to talk to officials.
Some of them.
I know if I'm refereeing Shauna's game, if I was official out there, she'd get every call. I'm just like,
well, listen, just stay away from referees because she wants to win the state championship. Any input from you could be a bad omen. So all the best to you coming up on Friday. We look forward to it. The Hampton Crabbers taking on Woodgrove in the state final. Thank you so much, and we'll see you up in Richmond.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you, Shonda. We'll see you.
Bye.
That is the head coach of the defending Class 4 state champion Lady Crabbers of Hampton High School. We're going to take a timeout and come back with more, including you'll see some highlights from that Hampton boys game that they had in the region Class 4 state semifinals with Verona. We've got some thoughts on Mike Jones's hire, plus some buy or sell college basketball edition on this latest edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Yeah, Woody Wagner loving the Crabbers out there. So many Hampton fans. They got the girls and boys getting ready for the state championship. Our man Dante's boxing talk out there, 757 boys. We might win 3A, 4A, and 5A this year. Basketball looking strong for the area. I agree with you. I think they got a great chance. We'll go through some more brackets too when we come back. Ed, real quick before we go to break. What you got?
I was going to say it's a good chance. Lake Taylor, both the Hampton teams and Woodside. It's good, but it's not going to be a walk in the park, anybody out there. But I tell you what, it could happen. They all can win it.
I'm quite sure you lost that game to Ben Moore, by the way. I don't think you won it. I'll have to go back and look it up, but I'm pretty sure you lost that game.
I don't think we did.
But I think you beat him the next year. I think you beat him the next year at his place, but I think you lost that one that you got teed up in. I'm pretty sure you did.
I would have to go back and look at that.
You're going to make me wonder the rest of the show now about that.
All right. I do remember about the referee talking about moving the chair. I think it's happened twice in my career where they asked me to move a chair, and both times I said, if that's going to worry you about this game, then we got a problem.
He was making up for all the teas you didn't get that you should have got. So
I might have deserved one or two elsewhere, but
might have. That's not a might. There's a definite.
I do question sometimes their are they sure they made the right call, or maybe sometimes they didn't see something that I happen to see, and I just remind them to look for that. That's all.
Let's hear from Gatorade, Town Bank, Dairy Queen, Chichos, and more right here. We'll come back on Cova Sports TV. Stay tuned.
I was once that little Iowa girl who was inspired to dream big, real big. And that dream was more than women's basketball. It was possibility that I turned into reality. I'm still that girl from Iowa, but now it's my turn to inspire. If I can drop 40, you can drop 50. If we can draw 56,000 fans, you can draw 57. If I can sign with Gatorade, you can too.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
What's up at DQ? These two are debating which $7 meal deal, with fries, drink, and a sundae, is the best full-size meal deal of all. Cheeseburger. Chicken strips. There's something for everyone in the $7 meal deal at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Friday night for Class 4 between the Hampton Crabbers and the Varina Blue Devils. Varina started out hot, winning the tip-off and working the ball around to the corner to Brian Mitchell to hit a three to start off the game. But back up the other way for Hampton, Troy Fullwood has a corner three of his own. And staying with Hampton here, they get the ball to the corner once again, this time to Darren Ball, who makes a 4-point play. But for Varina, KJ Witch hits the two as they try to mount a comeback. They were down by 13 at one point in this game, believe it or not. So trying to mount a comeback. There it is, KJ Witch again, getting his teammates fired up there in the fourth quarter as they start to make the comeback. I think that cut it right there to one possession. And here you have it. Brian Mitchell misses. Hampton with a rebound, takes it the other way, and it's an and one. Darren Ball again. He ended up making a free throw. Brian Mitchell here with some final hopes makes his layup. And the free throws are good after they were fouled by Hampton the following possession. However, Malachi Crosby for the Varina Blue Devils, they're big, fouled out. That ended up playing a factor. And the foul shots for Hampton, really clutch, were good. KJ Witch puts up a three to try and tie it. No good, it's out of bounds, I say. Crabbers ball. And that free throw there ultimately sealed it as the final shot for Witch goes in, but it's too little too late. Hampton would win by a final score of 51-49 as they will be going on to play at VCU next week. I'm Jack Lowe, Cova Sports.
And we're back here on Cova Sports TV, 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Glad you are tuned in. I am Matt Hatfield alongside the coach Ed Young. Like, share, and subscribe to our page. It's on YouTube, on VirginiaPreps.com, X or Twitter at 757 Sports Talk, and on Facebook too here. As Ed, you saw some highlights there from Hampton and Varina. You heard from Coach Sean DeBilly of the Hampton Lady Crabbers. Gives us a chance real quickly as we go back to the brackets to show you who is left, who is playing in the state playoffs. There's the Class 4 girls. Let's go back to the Class 3 boys here for a moment as we go back in the archives, if you will, or I should go scanning through this document I've got up on virginiapreps.com. There's your Class 3 field. Your take on what we've got left here with Lake Taylor prevailing comfortably over Meridian by 20 after defeating them. They beat James Monroe on Friday night by 31. And you got a chance to watch that game against the Yellow Jackets from Fredericksburg. How about Elijah Moss, Washington? I got the box score too. My goodness, the football, basketball, dual sports standout who is headed to Syracuse for football. 28 points, 19 rebounds, and it begs the question, how did he not repeat as Eastern District Player of the Year?
Yeah, that would be hard to go. Yeah, who got the Eastern District? Was it
His
Newton?
teammate, Rodney Mello Baines, who had 13 points, 11 rebounds on 6 of 7 shooting last night, is a very good player in his own right and deserving of accolades, first team, all district, all region, and perhaps even first team, all state. But I mean, I just think Moss is a monster out there. I'm a little surprised he did not get that honor. Nonetheless, I think he will be in the running for Tidewater Player of the Year and State Player of the Year. And it brings up our question of the day that we've got up on the page. We're going to flash up now. Who should be the Tidewater boys basketball and Tidewater girls basketball players of the year? Right now, if you had a vote, as good as Kalia Perry is for Hampton, as good as the young lady Asia Keels has been for Deep Creek, who I think will get this award in the future perhaps. You can go a lot of different directions. Soraya Griffin from Minchville. I think Micah Oja from Princess Anne, the freshman, she is the real deal. You got to see her yesterday. And then on the boys' side, I think it might be down to the two big men, Silas Barksdale of Woodside and Elijah Washington of Lake Taylor, whose teams are still alive for the state championship. What's your feeling? Who should be the players of the year?
Well, first of all, when we going back to that bracket,
yeah,
I think we both said way back when that Lake Taylor had a great shot of winning the 3A title.
Yep.
Still feel that way. Watching them play just makes it even more.
There's a look at the bracket for folks that want to just check it out. You got Northside, the defending champ with Cy Hardy and Michael Harvey. We got to call their game last year, that back and forth seesaw affair with Hopewell. Billy Pope's won a couple of these state titles. He had Julian Wood a few years back, who's now at James Madison. They're good. I just think Lake Taylor's size and their physicality on the perimeter, when they defend you, they can wear you down with relentless pressure. It could be much, although I would caution if it's a close game like we talked about with Woodside and Bird, free throws could bite them. Northside knows how to execute, and Northside's not afraid of getting in transition and running and performing. They've beaten Tunstall and Spotswood in some up-tempo type of games. It's going to be a tall order to beat the Titans the way they are playing.
Well, the problem with playing Lake Taylor, if you don't dictate tempo early, you're in trouble. And Northside, I know they can do that. And if they can dictate it early, you can cause Lake Taylor to get a little frustrated. They've got a lot of weapons that come at you quick. You know, I've always said it's harder to defend quickness, speed than it is size. Quickness, speed can really do some damage to you. But I think if you control tempo early with Lake Taylor, and you got to make shots, you got to put shots in there. You got to bother them on the defensive end, but you got to make shots too. You got to make them think a little longer than what we're doing. When they play that one pace, they are so hard to beat because they're so good at it. So Northside can do that. And it pretty much has come down. I said beginning, Spots would look really good, had a shiny record, but Northside has been through it. And then I thought on Lake Taylor's side of it, I just didn't have faith in the teams that were left. And a lot of people said, well, I even thought maybe Booker T, whose record does not look so great, but they at times played tremendous. They just weren't consistent enough to get through there, but they didn't.
Sure.
Now, we jump into Player of the Year. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't even want to talk about it right now.
Why?
I don't want to talk about it because I think it's going to be somewhat close. And I'm watching these players because, I'm voting for all Tidewater. And I want to really look at players. And again, when we look at these all whatever teams, and I tell people, it's for your actions all year. Sometimes people get in this mindset, like when they pick an all-region team, and this was stated to me this a couple of days ago. You have to look at the teams that are in the regional, that go far in the regional, and look at their players. No, you don't. All region is all the teams that were in that region. Even if a team won one game, do they have anybody that's worthy of some kind of a mention? Now, you might sit down and say, well, I've got these two kids that I'm really trying to figure out who's better. Then you can start adding, as they go into regional, who did what more. And there are some coaches that really have the mindset that it really should be what you're just doing in the regional playoffs. And if you didn't make it, oh, well. No, you can't have that attitude. All whatever means what you've done all year. Now, if you're doing an all regional team for just the players that win in the regionals, like the NCAA does in their tournament, that's different. All Tidewater is, again, consistent of all year. But what I like to do is, as players go deep, because you can't fault a really, really good player whose team is not any good and they don't go anywhere. You can't really fault that player. If he deserves some accolades, you got to give it to him. Can't fault him because he's on a bad team. So I want to see as these teams move on, and then I use the further they move on as my selection breaker. Just like when we talk about in the NBA greatest of all time, and I've always said, I've seen nobody that moves my needle away from Michael Jordan. LeBron James is tremendous, fantastic, unbelievable at times. But give me either Jordan or LeBron, I'm taking Jordan, 10 out of 10.
What about Russell and Chamberlain? Where'd they go?
Chamberlain is the most dominant player in the history of the NBA. Who can come out of the grave right now, and he's been in the grave for so many years, and probably average 13 a game in the NBA in bones. That's the state of the NBA. Bill Russell's one of the greatest defenders of all time. He might have a little trouble now because his size is point guard size in the NBA. But anyways, and we can't go by rings. We talk about greatest about rings because I keep saying this, and I'll rest my case on this. If you're talking about rings as greatest players, then Robert Horry is one of the top 5 players in the NBA history. Yeah, I think he has 6 rings. So that's a whole nother story. But Tidewater Player of the Year, you mentioned the Washington kid, the Barksdale kid. Could it be the year of size? Could it be the year that probably two biggest kids in the area who are producing get player of the year? It could very well be. And on the ladies' side, it could be somebody who's an underclassman. We talk about the PA youngster. Okay, as a freshman, it's pretty hard to kind of get that kind of an award, but it could be. I'd rather look at brackets and teams than I would individual awards.
All right, so Class 3, Tunstall, salute to them. Really good year. They beat Western Albemarle under Coach DeMarcus Morrison. They fall to Northside. And, of course, James Monroe, their best player, by the way, who you got a chance to watch last night, Mekhi Minor, just a freshman, by the way. I think he broke Tyler Nichols' freshman scoring record, but Lake Taylor just had too many horses for them. All right, so Lake Taylor's running through Region 3A in the playoffs this year in the tournament. 28.8 points per game is their margin of victory, Ed. Woodside, we talked about it, running through Class 5. Their margin of victory is 21.6. Those are pretty wide margins, Ed, 28.8 and 21.6. You know where I'm going, don't you?
Congratulations, Virginia High. You won the John Marshall Invitational. Your reward is
won the tournament.
You're going to play John Marshall in the state tournament, and you're going to get beat by probably 45 points.
Here's Ed, if you combine the margin of victory of Lake Taylor and Woodside, 28.8 and 21.6, that would be 50.4, right? Points per game between the two. Yeah. That's still not as much as John Marshall this postseason, which is winning by 59.4 points per game. And let's go even further. The last 17 playoff games, going back to 2022, they've won 17 consecutive playoff games, right? Since the COVID year, they didn't play. They're outscoring their opponents 98.4 to 43.8, an average of 54.6 points per game.
I'm dying over here.
And hold on. I'm not done yet. Their closest playoff game in the last 3 years. What is the closest margin? Do you know what it is?
42 points.
You were close. You were very, very close. It was a 34-point win over Thomas Jefferson of Richmond in the 2022 regional semifinals.
That's one of their rivals who can stand up to them.
They didn't stand up. They lost by 34. They ain't standing up to anything.
That's standing up to John Marshall. It's a joke. It's Ty White on the cover of EA Sports.
If it's in the game, it's in the game, by the way. They have 7 players that have earned all region accolades this year. All 5 starters. And last year they had all 5 starters earn first team All-State. And Virginia High wins a tight one with Graham. This will be the Thursday 2:30 game. And I'm going to throw this out there. I did it on the Kirk and Bird show last week, previewing the state tournament. I've said it to Julian Brown, our buddy from the Nova Legends podcast. I'll say it to you. I've said it on the air on the NFHS network. If Virginia High does not try to hold the ball, I'm not going to say they're doing a disservice, but I would say I will be disappointed because that's your only chance. You have to shorten the game. If you try to play a 32-minute up and down game, this will be brutal. Brutal. Do something different. Be creative. I will applaud you with the creativity. You have to do it. You have to try something. Why are you shaking your head? No, you have to. If you try to go up now with them, you're going to get beat by 50.
Nobody is going to hold the ball against.
I'm not saying the whole game. Do it for a segment. Like, we have a commercial break in a segment. Do it for a segment. I'll hold the pen for a segment. And I won't hold it for the whole show, but I can hold it for about 4 or 5 minutes. And eventually you're going to say, I'm going to take that pen out of your hand, Hatfield, and probably hit you in the head with it. Okay.
We're going to hear.
Great.
The game's at 2:30. By 5 o'clock, you are going to hear fans saying, what the heck is going on? Why is John Marshall a 2A school? They should be 6A. People, it's by enrollment. Stop saying that stuff. It's by enrollment.
We're not going to hear it by then because people have already been complaining about this for days and days and years and years and years. All right, let's go to Class 1. You got Lancaster, Auburn, the Eagles of Auburn, not the Tigers of Auburn. That's Bruce Pearl, not our Bruce Pearl. That's the other Bruce Pearl who lost to Tennessee this week. Thank goodness he did. Another story for another time. Auburn, a winner over Honaker in the semifinals. Lancaster, victorious over Middlesex. They were down for 3 quarters in this game. And good job by them to rally, get back to the state finals for the second straight year. They were undefeated last year, wire to wire. Troy Henderson, 1,000-point scorer, is back. Nick Milliron's 1,000-point score for Auburn. Auburn's won a couple of these championships, Ed. What do you think in this game? It's a different group for Lancaster to go with. Henderson, and Auburn has had those hellacious battles with George Wythe, who did not get through after beating Honaker handily this year, regular season. They lose to him. Honaker falls by 12. What's your gut say? Is this a down to the wire game? Because I'll be honest with you, I think 4 to 6 boys games are going to be blowouts. That's my feeling. And maybe not blowouts, but I think sizable margins. Probably so. I could say maybe 3 because I'm not totally sure on the north side Lake Terror. I think John Marshall wins with comfort. I think Woodside wins with comfort. I even think Hampton beats Tuscarora with relative comfort. I think the Patriots South Lakes goes down to the wire. I think the Northside Lake Taylor could be close, depending on if Billy Pope and company do some zoning on Lake Taylor, which I think they probably should explore. I don't know about for the whole game, even though he's more of a man-to-man type of coach defensively. What's your gut on Auburn Lancaster? If there's an overtime game in the bunch, maybe this is it. We usually have an overtime game, which I know drives our producer. We love Helene Shane crazy when we get overtime, but hey, it might happen.
And I love extra basketball in the state tournament. I just love it. I think Lancaster edges this out, and for some crazy reason, there's no indications that tell me this. I think we're looking at a game where both teams are in the 70s at least.
Ooh, you think it'll be a higher scoring game? I'd be curious because Auburn actually had a 4 overtime game last week with George Wythe, where the ball was held by, I think, one or both of those teams in one of the overtimes. So I'd be curious to see if they try to run with Lancaster and if, who can kind of dictate the flow of this game. This game interests me and fascinates me on a lot of levels. It does.
Yeah, I think Lancaster been there before. In the last, but they go. This is their 3rd straight trip or 2nd straight trip.
2nd straight, but Auburn won a couple. They shared it the year with Matthews, the COVID year, and they won it the year before when Lancaster did not get there when it was supposed to against Westmoreland. So these two have been on a collision course, and it hadn't happened. The stars have finally aligned that we get it. It's sort of like people wanted to see Kobe and LeBron finally meet in the finals. It never happened. Well, we get Auburn and Lancaster in the state final in Class 1.
And I think we kind of thought maybe George Wythe would come through there, but they didn't.
I did. I was wrong on that one. I've missed my picks. We're not going to go through my picks. My picks have been so bad.
I'm not going
80% for mine, but they've been so bad. We'll do that next week when I get maybe 8 of them right and I can gloat. But I can't get 8 right. We got 6. I can get 6 boys and 6 girls. I can get 12 right. Manchester, Thomasdale girls. Oh, they played a classic in the Region 6A final. This will be a doozy, Ed. We watched Manchester lose in a championship game last year to James Madison on their way to was it a 4-peat? 3-peat or 4-peat? I think it was a 4-peat. 26-2, 24-1. Thomasdale was top 25 ESPN. They had to sweat one out against Osborne Park. I think Manchester's playing better right now, but the familiarity factor's there, and Dale will not be afraid of them whatsoever. This has the makings to go extra basketball. It really does.
And I think Dale comes back from that only loss and takes down Manchester.
Do you really? I like Mia Woolfolk, the Georgia commit. I'm giving Manchester the edge in this game, but it would not surprise me. Dale's got the capability to do it.
Yeah, I think Dale comes out, and I do think it's a back-and-forth battle, and dare say, whoever has the ball last.
All right, James River of Midlothian, Princess Anne, 24-2. Little Birdie told me before this state tournament, actually told me way back that James River was going to win the Class 5 state championship, and I said, huh? Darnell Dozier, is he not coaching anymore? No, he's still coaching. He's got, more rings than a jewelry store, as they say, fingers and toes. He's got Micah Ojo. He's got a really good blend. They're playing great basketball, but look at this James River defense holding Patrick Henry down to 26 points in the last round, Ed, and they got held to 36 by Briar Woods in the quarterfinals. But could this game be a lot tighter and up for grabs? Could PA actually not win a championship?
When you get to this level, anything's possible except when you're John Marshall boys. I'm sticking with Darnell and his girls. Of course, Darnell hasn't scored a point and grabbed a rebound in years. His girls. Now, if James River can fluster some of these girls, because PA is a young team. So if you get them flustered a little bit, get a little physical with them, and again, be able to put the ball in the basket, then yes, they can win this. But again, I just got a feeling they're just so programmed right now, so focused right now. They understand where they're at. They understand what this means. They've been there before. Even it's almost like the young girl, the Oka girl, even a freshman.
Ojo,
but she's been there. She's been there. She probably was on the bench with him last year. She's been there, and maybe not. Of course, she wasn't on the floor as an 8th grader playing, but I'm just going to stick to experience. To one of my brethren that's been in the game as almost as long as I've been, and he has been extremely ultra successful. Every time you mention his lifetime record, I just that's your video game record. But I really think they will. But I think James River will be prepared. I don't think it's a blowout. I think it's close. And I think River tries to do some things. You mentioned holding the ball against Marshall.
Well, is it better? Is it more? That was my question. Is it more advantageous for them to run or play a half-court game with PA? What's your feeling? Because last year we saw LC Bird have a 5-point lead against PA in the state finals. They lost at 53-45. There was 5 ties, 13 lead changes. It was tied going into the fourth quarter, but PA in that fourth quarter held them to just 2 field goals. So PA's defense can bottle you up when they have to.
Well, people always say you can't run with certain teams, and I always laugh at that because you really know what you're talking about. If you're a team that can run in transition and score and defend in transition, then you do it.
You do what you do. You don't change it because of who you're playing, right? Yeah.
When new coaches get hired, one of the things they say in their interviews, well, we're going to have an exciting team. We're going to run it up and down. We're going to go all over man-to-man full court.
Football. We're going to play like Oregon. Spread it out and play football, Oregon. I hear it all the time, football coaches,
So football's the same way. We're going to open it up. Fans are going to love coming here. And then they run the ball 97,000 times. You've got to see what personnel you have. You can run with anybody. Are you scoring? If you're not a running team, you don't win the Kentucky Derby with Clydesdales.
No.
So you have to do what got you here. If you have one of those rare teams that can do both, that's fine. But I've always said when you get to this level, if you don't execute in a half-court sense, if you don't do little things, i.e. inbounds, defend and get ball inbounds, you're in trouble. And you always have to defend regardless. If you don't defend, you're letting the other team score. Now it becomes a situation where you're just going to try to outscore a team, which is a little different than really defending a team.
All right, you got Hampton. Sorry, Shonda. I'm going to give the edge to Woodgrove in this game. But listen, the Crabbers are already proving me wrong to get this point. I'm just telling you, listen, she's got an outstanding team. I just think it's Woodgrove's time. They've been knocking on the door. I'm not doubting the Crabbers' ability. They have a championship coach. They have pedigree. They know how to win, and both the boys and girls have proven me wrong to get this far. But it's going to be a tall order against Woodgrove. I think Woodgrove is really. You might be selling them a little short. There's nothing against Hampton. I think Woodgrove.
No, I'm not against Woodgrove. Maybe it's because I haven't seen them. And I do rely on you because you do see people. And
they've held 2 straight teams below 30 points in the state semis. Now, if Hampton can double that and get in the 60s, they're going to win the ball game most likely. But I don't know if they can get in the high 50s to low 60s in this game. That's going to be hard to do now. And Woodgrove's got shot makers. They got shot makers.
The thing Sean is going to really have to guard against is the potential, that mental breakdown where nothing's going good on either end. Meanwhile, they're scoring. And now you're looking at a 12, 14-point deficit.
Can't get down 15 to them like they did Monica, and I agree with you 100% because they won't go on a dry spell. Totally agree.
But I'm going with you, not only because you're a friend and I want to see the 757 win. You're going to find a way to pull it out. And when you do, you and I both can get at Matt Hatfield because he's the naysayer.
I'm not the naysayer. I'm just being a Liberty Christian. You're going to go against an undefeated team here. I took them in the quarters against last year's champion Carroll County with the great scorer and Alyssa Irvin. They won by 28, more than I thought. Took down Abingdon with ease. Meridian and Lake Taylor, good years for them. Lake Taylor, the 2 seed, beating Brentsville. Sandra Sawyer's team will probably be back in the hunt again. She's got 4 rings. Meridian, this is going to be hard to beat Liberty Christian. Give me LC in this one.
You know what? This will be the second biggest blowout behind
Ooh.
Marshall boys. This will be.
You might be right.
This might be a 30-point game.
So
Liberty Christian has no business.
So when Meridian pulls off the shocker, will you wear a Meridian shirt on a future podcast? Yes or no?
Yeah, they send me a XXX. Absolutely, I'll wear it.
What about
Meridian,
double? What if they don't have triple? They give you double.
I can't wear doubles. I'm past that.
Okay.
Meridian. There's nobody from Meridian listen to this anyways.
You don't know that. We got
There's nobody from Meridian.
Shirt. You don't know
where the
that.
heck Meridian is. Meridian, you had a great year.
They used to be George Mason. Don't knock them. They're good people up there. That's not nice.
They might need another name change after this game.
Nice. Oh, they're listening to you. Why are you so harsh?
I'm just saying, like a fat man down a hill, Liberty's going to roll.
Oh, they're going to call you. They're going to be chanting. You're going to have your head on a swivel up at the Siegel Center with X marks over Ed Young. It'll be great. I'll be applauding it too.
Well, they won't know who I am unless you stand up.
Yeah, they will. This is going to be shared all week before the game. Class 2 as we finish up. Robin Dotson, another one of your coaching veteran brethrens. He's a Hall of Famer, 700-plus wins. He's got 6-7 state titles. He's got a 2,000-point score in Emma McCamus. Now, John Marshall girls are spanking people too, but I think Coach Central Wise has got a wise coach in Robin Dotson. I'm not going against him in this spot. Give me them to win. But John Marshall girls and boys, like the Hampton girls and boys, trying to do the daily double.
And, oh, by the way, speaking of that, somebody had asked us about as a team, a school won both boys and girls title in the same.
Monacan did it, by the way.
Alta Vista has done it.
Alta Vista.
Clark County, I think, has done it, or Carroll County.
Well, I want to say Lake Terra came close. Monacan in 2016 won the boys, and their girls won it in 2016 as part of a three-peat under Larry Starr, the boys under R.J. Spellsberg. So it's been done before, but we'll see if it gets pulled off this year. That should be a good question as we lead up to the state finals. Will it happen? And our last one in Class 1 girls, which I was totally shot in the dark when I did my picks tournament, I took George Witt. They got hammered by Honaker lost to Eastside. Eastside lost last year's title game, Ed, to Rappahannock County. Do they get revenge like Patriots trying to do after losing last year? Do they win it this time? That's a storyline for a couple teams here. Buffalo Gap lost to Brunswick. Brunswick was a 2 seed and they're 25-1. Who's your pick here? Eastside, Brunswick.
I'd go on Eastside. They've been there before. I think they're going to do it. Brunswick found a way to steal one away from Buffalo Gap in that one-pointer. But I think Eastside, no, again, they've been there before. The record don't look as cute as Brunswick, but I think they take it down.
Record does not look as cute as Brunswick or as cute as me. I'm so pretty. I'm so pretty, as Muhammad Ali once said.
Okay, Vinny, you know what you got to do. Yep, there he goes. Vinny is out of here to take care of business because
all right.
Another hit.
Nick Senti's pick, by the way, he was so close last week on his selection for the race. This week, he is going to go with Kyle Larson in the NASCAR race. There you have it. Kyle Larson's his pick.
I'm going to go with, I think I had Joey Logano last time.
It was 2 times ago. Don't make NASCAR picks because your guy will wreck it. That whole family will be very
Mario Andretti racing.
No, Mario Andretti's not racing in this race.
The greatest driver of all time. No, Richard Petty.
Richard Petty. Yeah.
Stock cars, it would probably be Richard Petty as the greatest of all time. Well, wait a minute. Dale Earnhardt Jr. A lot of people.
Earnhardt Jr. or senior? Senior, you mean, not junior.
Okay. Senior. Yeah. My favorite stock car.
I don't put junior ahead of Jeff Gordon, but go ahead.
Richard Petty was my all-time
Jimmy
favorite
Johnson.
Stock car. Mario Andretti was my all-time Indy 500 type driver. So I don't know which one I could go with for this one, but I always stick with the veteran guys. I like.
Hey, real quick before we go to our final timeout, we'll talk about Mike Jones being hired at Old Dominion and do our buy or sell college basketball. There's the women's bracket. Who you picking and who's in the men's bracket? We're going to show that too.
Well, you're going all over the place with it. Let me
go ahead. The one seed's Marshall. Old Dominion inside the bracket. 4 seed. James Madison 3. Troy 2. I can't make a pick because I'm the broadcaster. I'm gonna leave this up to you. Give us your pick here. You got a dark horse. You're gonna go with Old Dominion. You're gonna go with James Madison. Marshall. Who you got?
I'm looking at the lower part bracket. I'm going to go Madison.
Put the hex on somebody here.
Madison, Troy. It's going to go chalk.
By the way, that's Nick's pick. Kyle Larson, he said for Las Vegas. Go ahead.
Nick, tell me who I should pick. And don't give me somebody.
Don't do that, Nick. Don't give that a pick here. Give us a quick pick. We got to go to break and do our last segment. Who you going?
It's going to be Marshall taking on Old Dominion
in the semis.
Oh, yeah, in the semis.
And then you got Troy and Madison, or are you going to go with someone else?
Old Dominion regroups from the Madison spanking, takes down Marshall, and plays Madison in the championship.
And
I think they're going to win it.
Wow.
I think Old Dominion is going to put this together, and the Marshall game will be tough, but I think they're going to go. I think they're going to smack Madison in the championship game.
Now you're not picking the ODU men, I don't imagine, as a 14 seed to win this thing.
No, Madison's winning this thing.
Okay, they're the 2 seed.
Period.
Well,
Madison,
if they win it, will App State get a bid as well, or just a one bid men's league? What do you think?
No, App will go to the NIT.
Okay.
Madison wins this and gets the NCAA bid.
All right, so Ed's got both Madison teams making the final, but only one winning it. We'll come back. Our final break. We'll talk about Mike Jones being hired and also do our buy or sell before we sign off on this latest edition, an extended one of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Programming note: next week we'll be going early, probably around 7 or 8 a.m. for the show because we have to be on the air for the NFHS Network. So we'll talk to you then. But we got one more segment to go. Let's hear from some of the sponsors that make it possible for us, including the Drip Bar. Stay tuned.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
I grew up here. I know this town. I know the people here. More important, they know me. As a banker at Town Bank, we become part of the communities we serve. The people who bank with us, our members, know us. When you bank with Town Bank, you'll know your banker. You'll know you can reach us, and you'll know we're here for you.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
All right, back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel as we talk to you on Facebook, Twitter, and, of course, VirginiaPreps.com, where we stream with you each and every Saturday morning. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors as friends, and your friends as neighbors. You see it on the screen there. Mike Jones is the new head men's basketball coach at Old Dominion University, was once an ODU player, part of that famous upset of Villanova in the NCAA tournament. Ed was an assistant coach at Virginia Tech, and most recently with the Maryland Terrapins, coached at DeMath after the great Morgan Wooten did so. And it'll be interesting to see who he brings on his staff. A lot of ODU alums and fans feel like this is a home run hire. Give us your take, and I'm curious to see who he puts on his coaching staff and how they recruit moving forward. You know, it's been a lot of emphasis on JUCO players with NIL now and the transfer portal, getting some of those players that have already played some college basketball. But I think he'll put more of an emphasis on getting some high school players in the next couple of years.
Well, Yeah, I think it's a good, very good hire. Somebody that's familiar with Old Dominion basketball, the area, the state, the region. He's done national recruiting. That's going to help. But remember now that things are different with the portal and the NIL. The emphasis is not really heavy on high school players. And Old Dominion's level, and some of the boosters don't want to hear this. You're not a national level team. You're not a top 25 team right now. And you're going to have to get some transfer portals kids. That's just the way recruiting is.
Sure.
And I think now when you hire a college coach at that level, one of the questions probably is, how are you going to deal with the portal? How are you going to recruit the portal? We're going to expect you to recruit the portal. How are you going to do it? Because it could be deadly for your recruiting also, as some teams have found out. So I think Mike is going to have to come in with, and he probably has that mindset. It will be interesting to see what his staff makeup is. I'm sure it's going to be, there could be an Old Dominion alumnus on that staff too. It's going to have maybe some ACC flavor. Who knows?
I'll give you two names. You ready? That I think will be on his staff. I'm going to give you the names Breon Dunlap and Odell Hodge. How about that?
Easily would be great hires. For Old Dominion. They're familiar with the school. I don't think it's as necessary nowadays, especially the higher level you go, that you bring personnel that's played there before. Did Mike playing at Old Dominion, did it have some kind of effect on him getting this job? I'm not going to say no way. I'm sure it did. I'm absolutely sure it did.
Yeah.
I think Mike got hired because they feel the hiring body felt this guy can get the job done. That's the main thing. I don't think they sat down in a room and said, okay, who's an Old Dominion alumnus that's been coaching? We got to hire from that pool. I don't think that was stated. It was done fairly quick. I don't think it was a so-called nationwide search.
All right.
I hate to see Jeff step away. By the way, on a side note, I was able to communicate with Jeff on text, and he did say he'd like to come on. Hate to see Jeff step away. I think he still has good years in coaching. It's probably a good time for him to at the very least, take a break, health-wise, reconnect family and all that. And there's no fault of that. I'm selfish because I like to see really good people, great character people in the game, stay in the game. So that's what I want to see Jeff do. But health comes first and foremost. And a lot of us in this business, we don't take care of our health. We don't know when to step away. And it's always been stated it's better to go a year too soon than a year too late.
Sure.
We wish Jeff absolutely the best. And we're going to get a chance to do that live when he comes on. But I think Mike will do a good job. Now, people out there, Old Dominion's not going to win 28 games next year and go to the NCAA tournament. So calm down. Let Mike put his program in. Let him put his touches on there. It was good for him to be hired early because this way he can get his hands on some people that maybe if he waited a month or two, he would not have the access to. So it was a very smart hire by Old Dominion.
We have 5 matchups involving top 25 teams in college basketball today.
I got my upset.
Well, hold on. We're doing buy or sell, and we're going to sign off from the show here. Number 24, Florida against number 18, South Carolina. Number 7, Kansas against number 15, Baylor. Number 5, Marquette versus number 12, Creighton. Number 4, Tennessee against number 14, Alabama. And number 23, I think it is. I can't read my handwriting. I think it's 23. Yeah, Gonzaga against number 17, St. Mary's. I can't read my handwriting. I know you sure can't.
No, I can't read yours or mine.
Buy or sell. Nobody can read yours. Buy or sell question. Here we go, Ed. Buy or sell. What do you think? Let's check it out. St. Mary's has the nation's longest active winning streak at 16 games in play. Hosted tonight in a West Coast Conference showdown. Will the Gales make it 17 in a row? What do you think? You're going to go sell?
I got inside sources that tell me bank it, bet it, and cash it out. Gonzaga takes down the Gales at St. Mary's, where they like you just said, they hardly ever lose. Write it down.
If you are wrong, well, first of all, I'm going to go vanish into the coffee table.
I wear a St. Mary's shirt. You give me the St. Mary's shirt, I'll wear it.
Well, Vinny get his head.
My head.
Well, Vinny get his head.
I'm not running down nude on North Main Street.
No, nobody wants
I'm
that.
Not coaching in my underwear.
Nobody wants that either. Will Vinny get his head shaved?
I don't know, Vinny's. No. He just said no.
He said no. I thought he said yes.
No, he just said he ain't doing that. No.
All right. Our next one, and I'm gonna buy it. Give me the Gales. You're selling it. I'm buying. St. Mary's wins it. Next one. Go ahead. Read that to us, Ed.
Number 18, South Carolina's favored at home by 2.5. Always watch that hook against visiting number 24, Florida. which has which has won the last 2 meetings with the Gamecocks. Will the Gators make it 3 straight?
Yes, they will. I'm buying that, although I think South Carolina's got a sneaky good team. I think that they are NCAA tournament bound, obviously, and can do some damage. But I think the Gators are showing as much improvement in the last couple of months as anybody in the SEC right now. But give me Florida to take them down on the road in this basketball game. I like the Gators. But I'll tell you this. If you're talking about Coach of the Year, Lamont Paris at South Carolina deserves it in the SEC. Done a heck of a job.
Yeah, I would think maybe unrivaled for that award. I'm going to, since it was a close decision and you're going Florida,
I'm buying.
I'll go South Carolina.
You're going to sell it. Okay, we disagree. Let's go back to the SEC, where number 4, Tennessee, Rocket Top. They visit Alabama down in Tuscaloosa, the number 14 Crimson Tide, in a matchup between SEC teams battling for the top seed in the upcoming SEC tournament. Dalton Connect of Tennessee. Oh, was he splendid against Auburn? 39 points. Will he have his 7th 30-point game today, Ed? Are you buying or selling Dalton Connect with a 7th 30-point game? And you hear Zach Edey of Purdue, Player of the Year. You hear R.J. Davis, North Carolina, Player of the Year. You don't hear enough love for Dalton Connect for Player of the Year, but I think he's going to be the SEC Player of the Year.
And I've heard this week a couple people saying they think he's the number 1 two-guard NBA in the upcoming NBA draft. Be the number. He won't go less than 3rd.
He'll be the highest American-born player potentially. I'll give him that.
I think, unfortunately, though, Tennessee is going to get smacked at Alabama.
Ooh, smacked. Not your buddy Rick Barnes, who you have faith in. That very few.
I love Rick Barnes.
Yeah, about that.
Take Rick Barnes over Nate Oates, the Alabama coach.
Ooh,
9 out of 10 times.
You might be in the minority on that one.
But I think I think Bama does win.
So you're selling this on 30 point for Connect, yeah. I'm thinking.
Yeah, I don't think he gets it. I don't think he gets it.
They're going to make someone else, whether it be Zakai Ziegler or Jonas Adu, beat them, and it'll be a high scoring game. So he could get 30 with the backdoor hit there, but I think Bama's going to score in the high 90s, maybe even 100. This could be a 102-94 type of game. I'm not sure to get smacked, though. I think it'll be relatively close. I don't think it'll be a smack. As our man Chuck Thornton, he's got there saying roll tide.
Yeah, yes, sir. Chuck and his Bama's.
Yeah. Bama. I think they're going to win this game. And Bama, even though they don't have Brandon Miller anymore, they're still very, very good. I do wonder if they'll go far in a tournament. That'll be interesting to see here. All right, the last 2, buy or sell. You got this one, Ed. Go ahead.
Well, Baylor has dropped its last 4 games in Lawrence, Kansas, to the Jayhawks. The Bears have won the last 3 meetings in Waco. Do you think they make it 4 in a row?
I'll go first for this one. I do think Baylor will win this one. I'm going to tell you why. At Kansas, Jayhawks have a banged-up Kevin McCullough, which cost them the other night. They had a 12-point lead at home against BYU. They let the Mormons from BYU come to Lawrence and beat them. They never lose in Fog Allen. Ed, how'd that happen on Tuesday night? I don't know how it happened, but it happened. And BYU's not too shabby. But Baylor's got a couple of pros on his team. Evie Misi inside is really good. Jacoby Walter, the guard spot, the lottery pick. Baylor had a tough win on the road the other day at TCU. I think they keep it going. They're at home now in their comfort zone. They can hit threes. The last time they played at Kansas, they were down big, got it tight, and Kansas got a little shaky. They don't have enough depth. This is not a vintage Bill Self team. Give me Baylor at home in this one. Maybe big.
I'm going to reluctantly agree.
Ooh.
I want to pick Kansas so bad, but I think they're a little bit, I don't know what word I can use, not starstruck, but
maybe they self-destruct. Is that the problem for Bill Self?
We see that every year. That is in the NCAA tournament. You use that term, self-destruct. Okay. But I just think if it was at Kansas, I would go with them. But it's going down there in crazy wacko Waco with the Baylor crazy. So I'm going to go Baylor in a close one. But Kansas will get itself back together, but not tonight.
Okay, our last one. By the way, if Kansas does win, it's going to be because Johnny Furphy has a big game. I know Hunter Dickinson is the big, massive force inside who played at DeMatha High School, where Mike Jones, by the way, coached. So we tie it back to Mike Jones and Old Dominion in the 757. But the key to that team is Johnny Furphy, him making outside shots. And DeJuan Harris is a terrific point guard. I just don't think Kansas's 6 through 10 players beyond that top 5, and without McCullough, it's really top 4, is enough in this spot. What is the great equalizer in college basketball, especially come tournament time, Ed? What is it? What is the great equalizer?
Well, you got to knock down shots. You've got to hit your free throws.
The 3 ball. You just said it.
A lot of times people who say if you have 3-point shooters, you're going to be able to do it. But you can't live. It's half court execution, and if the three's a big part of that, okay. But you're going to have to get some layups on people. You got to draw some fouls on people too. You don't draw fouls when you're shooting threes.
Our final buy or sell has to do with the three-point shot. Creighton has had 17 games of at least 10 made threes, and the Blue Jays, including the last 2 at home versus UConn and Seton Hall, the Blue Jays host Marquette. Will they hit 10-plus threes in this ballgame? What do you think?
Shaka Smart is really good at taking away what you do well. I'm going to say no.
You're going to say no. At home, they do not hit 10 threes. Really?
10 threes. I think Marquette finds a way to shut them down out there. I don't think they'll get it. I'm gonna say 8.
I got a post guy in Ryan Kalkbrenner who deserves attention. Now they can play him straight up with their big man. Marquette does. Shireman on the outside. Give it to me. I think Creighton's going to hit 10 or 11 threes, and they win this game something like 83-77. I'm buying. So we disagree on a couple of these. Actually, I think the first 2 and the last one in between, we agreed on a couple. So I'm buying. Give me the Blue Jays to hit threes. But I'm like you. I think they could go cold in the NCAA tournament and not hit enough threes. They could have a great day and then have a bad one on a turnaround, round of 32 after the 64.
Hey, how about last Sunday? My man in the white suit,
Rick Pitino,
took Creighton down.
Did he take that from your closet, or have you taken your white suit from his closet?
I'm going to have to admit it. I modeled my white suit from Pitino's wardrobe. I have to admit it. He has a little bit more money to get those tailor-made suits than I do.
All right. I'll never forget. I was at Nansman River High School when Blaine Taylor, the former Monarchs coach, came up to me. It was senior night. He was playing senior night. And Nick Wright, who was coming to Old Dominion, he looked over at me and says, "Oh my gosh, what is Ed Young wearing?" And that was when you came out in the white suit. And everybody, pictures, they said, "We got to find it. We'll put up on the show next week," because they were like, "This is a sight to behold, sight for sore eyes, sight to behold. However you view it, it was a sight."
And what amazes me, I can still fit it. That's what really amazes me.
Really? How about that? Well, that's going to conclude this episode. We thank all of our guests, such as Eric Brown of Hampton, Sean DeBailey, our entire Cova Sports, Hometown Sports Productions team, from Jack Lowe and Nick Senti and Chuck Thornton and the gang, to the coach Ed Young. I'm Matt Hatfield. We'll do it again next week as the March of the Madness continues on here in the month of March. We'll be up in Richmond for the state basketball tournament. You can watch all of that with us on the NFHS network. And Ed, it should be a lot of fun heading to the 804 from the 757. We'll see how many 757 teams can bring home championships.
It's going to be some memories made. We're going to have some fun on the broadcast. Hey, by the way, give me the Vegas, the 500 or whatever they're running in Vegas. Give me the guy last name Bowman.
Who, Bowman?
Last name Bowman.
All right, that's what Ed says. We'll do it again next week here, Lord willing. For watching 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Enjoy your sports weekend, everyone.